There are two guests tonight. That's right. It's always surprises at the RetroBlasting Random Michael is Bored live stream. And tonight, there are two people who are bored. One is Sal of Two. Yes, I did it right this time. One is Sal of 2 Cents Toys. And the other is this generic brown-haired looking white guy who apparently looks like every action figure that's been made in the last 20 years. That's a white brown-haired guy.
That's an accomplishment.
Yeah, it's like if Reaction Super 7 decided to use AI to figure out how to model their next reaction figures, AI would just send them back like 500 photos of me and be like, you should do that. And it's, yeah.
Well, they should do that because they'd look better.
I did
that was both a slight at Super 7 and a compliment to Michael.
That's right. I did get Invisalign, so there was that. Ooh. I think mine was the off-brand Clear Correct. Either way, they both make your gums recede. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Michael is Bored live stream with my good friend and also bored 2 Cents Toys, Sal. So, Sal, I got an email a few moments ago. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I sent the last exchange in a protracted conversation a few moments ago from somebody that I did not know or intend to talk to. Don't. I'm not about to name drop. This person's a rando. I have no idea who they are. But the fun part of this is you might hear something for a second, and it's muted. Good. This individual sent me a message request on Facebook. I'm getting to my point, I promise. And they told me that they were a screen used props collector. And they wanted me to know that my personal Facebook page posting about the auction for the Raiders of the Lost Ark revolver was technically incorrect, and that there was an error in the wording over on Prop Store that has confused a lot of people, and that it may not be the revolver that shot the swordsman, but it's definitely one of the revolvers that was in Tunisia. But I would really like to ask if you would mind going and changing your personal Facebook post about this thing. And I'm like, well, this is a new one. I've never had someone this pedantic before. I didn't know this person. This person's clearly not in the toy community.
Right.
They don't know me. And I just wrote them back and I was like, that was just a personal Facebook post. I'm getting the impression that you're just trolling. When I say trolling, I meant trolling as in moving through. I didn't mean like trolling, but like you're just moving through social media, searching for any post on this so that you can correct it. But as you've indicated, you don't work for Screen Used. So are you just some pedantic weirdo? And he was like, well, I don't understand why you're being so hostile with me. I'm just trying to protect the integrity of the hobby. So this is my point. This is what I wanted to ask you about. In our toy community, I have heard this phrase as well, the hobby.
Right.
I hear it from grown men our age, generally people who are really OCD. Now I've heard it in the prop world as well. What's the deal with that? Like, why are all these grown guys always talking about collecting toys or whatever as the hobby? Oh, the hobby. We've got to protect the hobby. Like, what?
Right.
It seems like it's in every single area of extracurricular activity. I don't hear people who play baseball calling it the hobby.
Right. I think it's a term they use to try and alleviate what it is, or try to elevate.
Elevate? Yeah.
Right. It's like we have plastic people. Like no part of this behind me says anything about being a sound adult with emotional stability. No part of that. So when I'm like, the hobby, and like adjust my monocle up, it's like, don't try to church it up, son.
Right, exactly.
I would
I
just
am currently texting Melinda. Actually, I don't have to. She's literally listening right here. Hey,
Oh, great.
Melinda. Hi. Your TV volume is really loud upstairs. I can hear it coming down the stairwell. Anyway, so that should resolve the situation in approximately 15 seconds if I know my delay. Anyway, so yeah, I'm so glad Just Plain Reviews said this. Melinda said this upstairs when I was talking to her about it. She clearly has it nailed. It's all about the money. She said that. She said anytime someone uses the phrase the hobby, they are trying to protect the sanctity of value and perceived, money value on whatever thing it is they're interested in. And maybe that's why maybe she and Just Plain Reviews have answered my question about why this isn't applied to golf or something like that.
Right.
In car clubs, it's the hobby. In toys, it's the hobby. In clearly prop or movie prop collecting, it's the hobby. I would assume in cosplay it may be the hobby, but I've never heard it referred to that way. And
you want to meet some really pedantic people.
Yeah, because cosplay kind of falls into that same area as sports where you're buying into it to enjoy it rather than buying it for some kind of investment purpose later on. Yeah. Yeah, so we have a super chat already. I'm shocked, but we have a super chat already from, just wanted to check and make sure we didn't miss any others, from Zoe Vargo. Hi, buddies. We love inadvertently offending people for fun. Both of us are here to support. Well, Zoe, it's always great to see you. And I missed you at Joe Fest, but just as I missed my friend Sal at Joe Fest, but I'm really glad that you're here, and I hope we can all have some fun tonight.
Indeed.
So let's see what everybody's saying in the chat. We have a ton of people here, and I'm just going to say hi to you all collectively. Sick, bro.
Indeed.
So KBA, I can answer this question, and Sal will definitely know what I'm talking about due to all the customizing and work that he's done in the past. Waiting for things to cure or dry is not exciting.
So I got around to doing that project.
Ooh, nice.
And I turned that little planter into a D12. As you might imagine, paint on glass takes a long time to dry.
Oh, man.
And you get so far into it, and you're like, oh, if I move too quickly, one of these is going to be on the floor drying.
Oh, man. So, you had to find a way to balance it on one of its corners?
So here's the fun part, because I'm also retarded. This is a planter, right? It's made for succulents.
Oh, okay. Hi. That was Melinda again. Please continue.
And it took me until I got to the last one, which was this number 4 that I'm quite proud of.
Yep.
To realize that there's a missing plane where the plant goes. I could have just put it there. So
which number is now missing off the die 12?
7.
Okay.
Just arbitrarily picked 7. And
so you took out the lucky number. Nice. Yeah, I love the irony of it.
I suppose so. Jokes on me, I guess. But yeah, so I did that, and it was the number. I did the last one, and I was like, "How am I gonna?" So that was an experience that I'll never do again.
Yeah.
Paraphrase Harrison Ford, another meaningless experience.
Just another useless experience. Jarrett Horton says, I'd rather be bored than watch movies from the last 5 years. That's true.
What's the difference?
I know, right? I've been rewatching Thundercats because Lio has finally reminded me. It's been literal years since I talked about doing Redux. In my defense, to paraphrase Louis Tully from Ghostbusters 2, COVID was a tough time for all of us. I got stuck in an elevator for 4 hours and had to make the whole time. I think those years passed by us. They kind of got erased. Like we were putting that machine from Princess Bride, and they just erased some of our years. So it didn't feel like
a year of your life.
Yeah. It didn't feel like 4 years to me, but Lio apparently was keeping track. So I'm watching Thundercats. I'm taking notes. That will be the next big. That will be the return of the RetroBlasting retrospective 2-parter since Bionic 6. And then after that, hopefully I will stay on target for the other ones. But yeah, so let's see here. We have, oh, well, that's very kind. It was a pleasure meeting your wife as well, World Made of Cardboard. And as I told you the other day, I have found the Sarah Jane Smiths, and I will be sending you one this week. So look for it. All right, let's see. Jason Anderson says, so many hobbies are dangerously close to losing their integrity. You know what? I can't figure out, because Jason is so razor wit like you are, Sal. I can't figure out. You're gonna have to help me on that one. Is that a multi-layered joke? Like you can approach it from like 4 different directions?
Yeah. I mean, I tend to take that pretty on the nose. But yeah.
I was thinking about it from the perspective of you could take it one of 2 ways. You could either take it as the word hobbies is dumb because hobbies don't lose their integrity. People are interested in what they're interested in spending their free time doing. Or you could take it at face value, like we've been experiencing with the pedantry that's been going on in all these communities. And you could say hobbies are dangerously close to losing their integrity with all the people in social media.
Yeah.
But that's me.
The fun part is that hobbies intrinsically don't have their own integrity. It's the people that practice that hobby. So it's kind of like corporations are people. So
that's always fun. Corporations are people.
That could be the underlying joke to me, is implying that hobbies have the ability to do these things when it's the people in the hobby.
Right. Turn up the volume, Melinda. I can't hear it. Can't hear what?
Talking about the TV.
Oh. Sorry, I'm a little behind. Let's see. Bounty Toy Hunter says, nobody can control anyone's speech. Anybody can call it whatever they want to. It is what it is. Some people think it's a hobby. Some people call it toy collecting. Yeah, that's true.
I call it spending any hope I had at a retirement.
The thing that I'm referring to, Bounty Toy Hunter, is I'm not trying to control anyone's speech. This guy was literally looking for anybody on the internet that posted about this auction and trying to control how they described it.
Right.
I didn't start the control tennis match.
Right.
And I told the guy that. So let's not blame the victim here. All right. I wasn't bothering anybody. And then this guy started throwing around the word the hobby. I see a pattern with the pigeons, and I kind of go to town like I always do.
But it's also like collecting toys is a hobby, but it's when you put the in front of it. Implying it's the hobby.
And that's the whole thing. Like everybody who starts to get like wound up when I start pointing out these kind of things, they start acting like, oh my God, gatekeeping. And it's like, wait a second. Who gatekeeped first? Who's on first?
Right.
You know, if you saw this guy's write up, my friend, you wouldn't be questioning me. Let's see. Jason Anderson says, technically in car circles, we call it spending money we don't have on stuff we don't need.
For reasons we don't understand. Very
true. LB Makes Content says, I know you aren't entirely excited for Dial of Destiny. I'm like, Department of Defense?
That's what I was like. I work for the Department of Defense. What are you talking about?
I had the same thought. But how do you feel about one more John Williams indie score? Well, it's like I said with when I did a write-up years ago when Facebook pages had notes. The RetroBlasting page would regularly have notes that I would write. And I did one about the launch of Force Awakens. It hadn't come out yet, and I was predicting that it wasn't going to be a very good movie. And I said, like the prequels, I said, and I don't mean the quality of the films. Hold up, everybody. Don't jump me. I know there's a lot of prequel fans here, all right? What I was saying was the one guarantee that came out of the prequels, the one thing I'm proud to own from the prequels is the music. I think the music is, regardless of what your criticisms are of the films, the music that John Williams put together for that trilogy is gangbusters. Now, unfortunately, some of the filmmakers on the sequel trilogy, especially J.J. Abrams' 2 out of 3, they didn't play the game with John Williams the same way he's accustomed to working, and that was their loss, not his. But I had said jokingly at the time, I said, I don't think Force Awakens is going to be good. I said, but the music will be great because it was John Williams, right?
Right.
So I'm predicting the same thing with this. I don't think the movie's going to be good at all, but I think I can guarantee you the music will be great. You know, I think it will be. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm of two minds on this movie being good or not. Like, I have no interest in seeing it, so I'm just not gonna. I don't know, something about Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I'm sure she's a nice person. I don't like her.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything with her in it that I've liked. So I don't know. But to me, whenever it's already getting bad reviews from the critics, like the critics call it's rotten on Tomatoes because they're a metric of measure.
Yep.
Anytime that the critics don't like something, it's a coin toss if the fans are going to like it or not.
Right.
So,
right. Well, that's like they're claiming right now, you know, the critics don't like The Flash, but they're advertising it with a 95% Rotten Tomatoes score, which is a user score.
Right.
So yeah, your point is well taken. Like, you know, Melinda's brought up Jason Anderson's comment. For clarity's sake, there's a hobby, the hobby, our hobby, your hobby, and Holly hobby. And one of those is quaint and endearing to little girls. Isn't there also a hobby horse? Isn't that a thing?
Yes.
Yep.
There's a hobby horse.
Yep.
And there's also Holly Holy, but that's Neil Diamond. So
right. Yes. Do we expound on the Indy 5 thing for a little bit, or do we?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
We can
well,
spin
then,
it on.
if we're going to expand on Indy 5, let me just intro us into this.
Let's just deal with this hostility now.
So let's talk about Indy 5 for a few minutes. I don't know what your lead up experience to this has been. We're obviously, don't worry, Sal and I, regardless of what we may or may not know, Sal and I have not discussed this very much at all. What we may or may not know about the plot's not going to come up in this discussion. We're not going to ruin your yuck. We're not going to yuck your yums, everybody. But as far as our anticipation for this film, I did not plan to go see it. Meaning I just don't go see things in the theater anymore. I had planned to see it, you know, on a disc or borrow it from somebody or whatever. And I hadn't planned to go see it. And then the one friend in in our groups of friends, there's always, I find, I don't want to speak for you, but I find there's always a movie series with each friend that we have, as long as that friend is close enough to us. I don't mean some random acquaintance, but like close, true friends. There's always that one movie franchise, you know, that friend of yours is really into, and they get to spend that credit with you once every like 3 years to make you go see that movie with them, right? Whatever it is, they can cash in their chips. But it's only one friend per franchise. Like, you don't have like 3 friends that can get you to go see the next Disney Star Wars movie. It's only the one, right? It's that one guy owns the Star Wars chips in your world, right? So I have a really, really good friend. He's probably the closest thing I have to a lifelong, throughout my whole adult life, friend. And he's somebody I met way back in the early 2000s during the time that I was really embedded in the Indiana Jones fandom. And really great guy. Knew him in person, all that kind of stuff, still do. He called me up one day, and he calls me up a lot, so I was caught off guard. Like, he and I talk regularly. So he called me up one day, And we don't just talk about Indiana Jones. We're lifelong friends. So he called me up, and I was thinking he was going to tell me about his daughter's piano recital or something like that, or whatever. Looking forward to that conversation, right? He's like, so you gonna be ready to go to Indiana Jones 5 with us on opening weekend? And I went, oh. I was just like, Steven, if anybody else on this planet had asked me that question, I could have told them to F off and laughed. I said, but it had to be you. Of all the gin joints and all the towns, you had to walk into mine. Like, you know, we had a good laugh. And then I said, yes, I will go. I said, don't ask me my real opinion after the movie is over if you are riding on a high. Don't do it. I said, I will let you have your joy in that moment, and I will not ruin it for you, and we will go to Waffle House at 2 a.m. or whatever it is. I said, but don't drag me into a conversation you're not ready to have. I don't know if that resonates with you in any way, but
yeah, it does. Because living the life that I live, I do lots of stuff that I don't like.
Right.
And I spin it to keep any semblance of sanity that I have left, and the modicum of self-respect that I still have. I spin it to myself that I'm creating memories.
Right.
Like, it's not like if I was in your situation, it's like, okay, I'm not going to see this movie I don't want to see. I'm going with my friend. We're going to get food afterwards. We'll talk about it. Like, that's what I'm going to choose to remember.
Yep.
But yeah.
You almost pulled a Jimmy Stewart there. You're like, yeah.
Oh, well, no, it's do lots of things like that I don't want to do, but because the person asking, I'm like, okay, I will do this for you.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. We have some super chats. Melinda's alerting me. Anthony Whitehead, thank you so much for the kind super chat. Some cash for your Kylie hobby. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. That was
not a hobby. That's a way of life.
It is. It really. I mean, 1990 for me. 2023. I mean, we're 33 years into that one. Is my math right? 33. Yeah, we're 33 years into that one. So, that makes it sound old. Dang. All right. Well, next week I'll be dead, everyone, because I'll be Rip Van Winkle. I'll just be, I'll be like Donovan at the end of Holy Grail or Holy Grail, Last Crusade. I'll just, melt away. World Made of Cardboard, thank you so much for the kind super chat. He says, I need to apologize for my rant on Patreon against The Rise of Skywalker, in which I inadvertently called the movie a story, which is an insult to stories everywhere. It will never happen again. I think that's fair. I think that's very kind of you to say. I was going through some dollar bin comic book long boxes at a used bookstore the other day, where everything's just randomly thrown in there. And I think what you've just said, World Made of Cardboard, is very respectful to some of the real stories of our age, like, Barbed Wire Preview #1 from 1993, or random issues of Power Pack. These are all true stories. When I say true, I mean true with integrity, not true like they literally happened. But although the vote is still out on Barbed Wire, but they are stories of real integrity, even though they're in the dollar bin. Ambush Bug issues, far more of a real story than anything Rise of Skywalker put out there. So
I'm sure that he'll be happy to know that when he called it a story, that the people who write the stories for those little mobile games on your phone were clutching their pearls. That how dare he besmirch. But now that you've apologized, they'll allow you to pay $5 again for an extra life.
Yeah, it's it reminds me of those situations we found ourselves in the late 80s and early 90s, when we would go on, say, a trip with our parents or a school trip, and you'd be away for like overnight, but where you were staying, there was always one tired looking arcade cabinet that sat like by in an alcove somewhere. You never knew how it got there. You never knew how long it had been there, but it was the only video game anything that anybody could play. And so that's how you found yourself trying to beat Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, was because it was the only one there. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about how people justified the sequel trilogy to themselves. Well, it's the only thing here. Well, I beg to differ, but
that's how I found myself at the ripe age of 8, going on an adventure with a wooden pig. We went to visit some older woman that was somehow tertiarily related to us, and one of those where you get dragged along because you're too young to take care of yourself, kind of thing. And didn't know where we were going. Ended up there, nothing to do, didn't bring anything with me. Had just to sit on my hands, and I found a carved out wooden pig, and I played with that for the duration.
Yeah, that's a perfect point, because I will do anything to find something else to divert myself other than being forced to do the horrible thing. You know, if they're like, oh well, there's a lake you can swim in. I'll go play with a stick in the dirt for 4 days before I do that. And the lake in this case is any Disney sequel Star Wars movie.
Well, that stick is a nice sword too.
That's true. That's true. Especially the ones with kind of like the wormwood trails on them. They seem to hold up a little better.
Yeah.
Master Son 42, thank you for the super chat. He says, you mean the disrespectful retrospect of the Bionic 6? Hello, gentlemen. I would love to hear about the attempted phone call yesterday. Oh, well, for those of you who aren't aware, the illustrious, I say that with my tongue firmly in my cheek, we lost Sal. The illustrious Chris Cron of Fan Strike Back, he tried to call me on the phone yesterday while I was on a live stream with Midnight's Edge. It was a tail end invite. You know, I kind of jumped into the chat just to say hi. And Tom sent me an invite. And so I thought, well, I'm waiting for JB Weld to dry, so I might as well just, you know, jump into the chat there. And when I did that, I had a missed call. I looked over during the ringing from one Chris Cron. And I was like, well, I'm glad I'm on this live stream right now. Not that I'm afraid to talk to him, but I don't know. I mean, I've obviously talked to him a lot over the last few years trying to get him to come clean. But I don't know what the value of this conversation could be at this juncture.
Right.
So I didn't, I couldn't pick up the phone anyway, because I was live on a live stream. Like I couldn't leave the thing, but I just kept asking myself, like, what could he possibly have to say to me at this point? Like, why would he want to even talk to me at this point? Because he did everything possible to wreck my credibility after I reviewed that Bantha. Right. So even on my own channel, he came onto my own channel and tried to wreck my credibility when we had that call-in thing for them to try and mend fences with their customers. So I don't know. Very strange. Very strange.
At this point, even a full confession would do nothing but just bring closure. That's it.
I like how Michael disrespected my super chat and won't even acknowledge Bionic 6 anymore.
Ooh.
How is Master Son? Just let me know what would have been the appropriate response to show respect, proper levels of respect for Bionic 6. Would it have been a Bionic 6 salute? Would it have been some kind of like miniature celebration of secret identities that aren't secret identities? Like, we hide in plain sight like GoBots. Like, what would that be? Just let me know. All right, so we have a few more super chats here, so let's Analog Toys says, here's to ruining the hobby, one video at a time. Ka-chow. Wotage says, mention of Indy 5 makes me crestfallen too, Michael. Yeah, it's oof. Why? What's that?
Speaking of memories and all that, and Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones 4, I saw it theaters like most people. I didn't hate it, but I didn't have like a fundamental understanding of the lore or anything. I was like,
Right.
it was a movie. The thing I choose to remember is the Whopper tie-in at Burger King.
Yes.
It was delicious.
The thing about Indy 4, I actually walked out of Indy 4 liking it more than the prequels. In other words, I had a good time as far as, I shouldn't say good time because it's still a sucky film. Maybe it's because I knew it was one movie and it was one adventure.
Right.
But it it was also in the pulp adventure genre, but I love the way that you have phrased it in such a way that it's supplemental evidence of what I've been saying the last few years, which is you said I didn't know anything about the lore.
Right.
That's the problem with Last Crusade and Crystal Skull that this one is going to ride right into, this next one, is that pulp adventure heroes should never have lore. They are the ones who are trying to explore the lore of something else.
Right.
So like when we do our Ancient Mysteries live streams, we are talking about the history of another civilization or ancient mystery or whatever it is. We are not supposed to get invested in the lore of the character on the adventure. They are in the most positive way possible. They are the cipher through which the audience wants to project themselves. Like it's wish fulfillment. I want to be those characters. I'm not interested in those characters problems with their parents or what bills they can't pay. Like that's not what these are about. So when they start throwing that in there, which they did heavily in Crystal Skull, I can see someone going in who doesn't quite know the history of the franchise. But I don't say history of the franchise. I mean, how the movie's all unspooled. I can see someone going in going, wow, there's a lot of, ex-wives showing up and people finding out they have sons and all this talk about fathers that have passed away. And what is, okay, I'm lost here. And it's like Raiders and Temple of Doom didn't have none of that. Like it was just, bam.
That was the extent. Like I was familiar enough with Raiders because that was the one I watched the most as a kid. And then like I knew tertiary, like I knew going in that Sean Connery had retired.
Right.
He wasn't acting anymore at that point. And I remember my dad telling me that, and he's like, "Oh, well, he's not gonna, he's not acting anymore." And I thought that was a nice way to just to have the picture on the desk, like, because how else can they do it?
Yeah.
But the only other thing I remembered was the knight from Last Crusade. And I walked out of the theater with my two friends from high school who were much more in the weeds on that stuff. And they had a huge problem with him surviving the nuclear blast inside of the refrigerator.
Right.
Which, understandably so.
Sure.
But they're like, he survived, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, didn't he meet a 1,000-year-old knight in the last one and drink from the Holy Grail?
Yeah, the plot point there that a lot of people miss because it's in like throwaway dialogue is the knight says the Grail cannot pass beyond the Great Seal. That's the boundary and price of immortality. So he's only, and that's the thing that I often wondered was, why is the knight, if he's lived there the entire time and watched over the Grail, why has he aged at all? Because he can drink from the cup every day. So did he like try and get off the sauce for a while and then he let himself age some more? Because that doesn't seem wise if other people may or may not show up.
Right.
You would think you would be walking into a room where a guy is just like a 20-year-old, obviously medieval. He might have some, diseases or abscessed teeth or whatever, but he's definitely in his younger years. And nope, he's let himself grow pretty old. So it's like that Grail ain't working so well. Sounds like that Grail needs an oil change or something. Something ain't right.
It's been 1,000 years. He ages for fun.
This is what I do for fun. I see how much salt and pepper I can get in my beard. Oh, crap. I waited too long. Drew G says, hey, Sal, you were missed at Joe Fest.
Oh, thank you. Maybe next year.
And King Eric the Greatest says we should start a D&D group so Sal can roll that die.
Yeah, I'll do that. and just listen to all my hopes and dreams break with it.
Oh man. Lio Convoy has a super chat. He says, looks like Super 7 is doing a cat's lair. Kill me. Really?
Does it at all resemble a litter box?
After the $450 Thunder Tank, they're going to do a cat's lair? I have a feeling those two things are going to be wildly out of scale with one another because their Ultimates line are 7-inch figures. So it's already a problem to do things like that.
Right. I was watching, someone did a video with that Thunder Tank, and I cannot remember who it was. But I watched one, and Thomas, you'll have to correct me because my Thundercats lore begins and ends with an alleged cracked tank that was never cracked.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure they can stand upright in that tank and not touch the ceiling. Like, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be that big.
Right.
And the toy they made is not that big at all.
And they still charge the same price for it.
Yeah.
Oh, what a scam job. God, see, Brian Flynn. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Let's see. Somebody just said here, Michael, have you bought a Clash of the Titans Kraken yet? No, I haven't. I saw one at Joe Fest that everybody was talking about, but the Kraken is just one of those toys that I do want. It's the last thing in my Clash of the Titans collection I need, but at the prices they demand and the fragility and kind of goofiness of the toy, right now you've kind of got to be a diehard Ray Harryhausen fan to want that piece of merchandise at that price. So that's...
And I've seen the real Kraken in person.
Oh, really?
Yep. When I was visiting London in 2012, there was, I don't know if it was like a mobile museum or something visiting London, but it was a movie museum. And there was an entire room dedicated to like Jason of the Argonauts and had all the little clay sculpture apertures, everything. And they were very adamant about not taking photos.
Good.
I pulled out my phone to take a photo, and the guy just kind of, he did the British thing of looking at me very disappointed. And I was like, oh.
Must have something to do with flash photography, long-term damage to the thing, or I don't know.
No idea.
The phones don't generally flash anymore, so...
no idea. They signs no photography, like, period.
Maybe it's a copy. I don't know. These licenses, the way they license things and the way they German spotlight the copyright stuff now, it's kind of disgusting. It's like, really, guys, like you guys feel lawyered up. Like this all feels very this is
I can tell you the sculptures and all that they're not long for this world.
Right.
Like the Medusa had wires exposed and things, like they're barely holding on.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've seen some guys doing that thing where they're trying to like take the Jason and the Argonaut scene with the skeletons, and they're trying to use like frame rate changes and stuff to see what Harryhausen's precision of movement was. It's pretty impressive. You see it, kind of altered in certain ways.
I saw one where they changed it, where they either sped it up or slowed it down to make it more fluid. And it was one of those where I didn't notice a difference until they put it side by side. Then I saw the difference.
Right.
So I was like, it's still stop motion, but
yeah, but it's very impressive stop motion, especially for its day. Impossible Pie, thank you for the super chat. He says, was Kylie ever contacted for Iconicon? RB for life. No, not that it's outside the realm of possibility for us to be that cheeky, but she's actually I think she's just gotten done recording a new album, and her single from it has taken off ahead of its September release. So she's a busy artist right now, and more power to her, because she literally defied BBC One's discrimination against older music artists. She did an end run around them right onto social media and proved the lesson we all already know, which is that it's not the age of an artist that young people care about. It's how kick-ass the song is. So, yeah. But they were being ageist over on BBC One. But haha, she had the last laugh. Let's see. Robert Diaz, thank you for the super chat. He says, today at work, Michael, someone asked me, would I rather watch Indiana Jones 5 or Caddyshack 2? I asked if I could choose ritualistic suicide instead. Well, as somebody who saw Caddyshack 2 in the theater, no less, I feel I've already paid my penance for that conundrum, but I still have to see Indiana Jones 5 because one of my best friends in the world asked me to go. So I'm gladly going to spend time with him.
Yeah.
But, you know.
That's I've had friends bothering me, or not so much more. I think it's out of theaters now, but when the what is that movie called? It's the Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out recently. They were begging me to go see it with them because they're like, "Oh, you're a nerdy guy. You'll like this stuff." I was like, "Fool me once. I saw the first one in theaters. I'm not doing it again."
Yeah. Yeah. Those are wise words, everybody. Remember, if you're allowing yourself to be fooled multiple times, you might want to reevaluate yourself. Master Son 42, thank you for the super chat. He says, wait, how does Chris Cron have your phone number and I don't? I swear, Bionics on. Yeah, but what Chris Cron doesn't have is my street address. And you have that. And you have permission at any time to roll up and just come say hi, stay for a few days. Like, I'm totally will. I didn't know you didn't have my phone number, but after the stream is over, I'll just send it to you. So,
caveat being the Bionic 6 stays home.
It won't matter that he knows I have them all on hard drives here anyway. So, Shockwave 75, thank you for the super chat. He says, speaking of ancient mysteries, when are we getting another stream? I love them. Sal, give everybody a preview of the next topic that we've been discussing it on and off for a few months now. So,
okay, so Darren Kuyu, right? So picture it, Sicily, 1912. Yes, that's a Golden Girls reference for anyone playing along at home. So Darren Kuyu, it's in Turkey. Like a lot of these places are in Turkey. Something about the Turkish, I don't know. Imagine, if you will, or better yet, for people who played Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which I have some very hot takes about that game. I was wildly disappointed. There's an area called the Depths, which is the entire map of Hyrule flipped upside down under Hyrule, or as they call it in other video games, low roll. So just imagine that you live in this city, going about your day. There's a myth about some hidden city underneath the one that you're living in, like New York and Futurama. And you think, oh yeah, that's it's a wives' tale. That's what people talk about. It's a thing, whatever. It's not real. And then some dude's like, you know what this basement needs? A bar. And he's doing renovations, and all of a sudden finds an entire city in his basement. Just leads to this huge series of catacombs that are not just like natural rock formations, but like actual cities that had living quarters and chapels, and it's this huge thing. They had ways to get water, like just amazing.
Yeah,
and it's not the only one.
Yeah, they're connected to others underneath the ground, right? There's like these. Yeah,
there's like two that are like 3 miles apart, but are connected underground.
Yeah. And when you see those digital cutaways they've done after they've mapped them to show you like the, I mean, if you've ever had a fantasy of being in the video game Dig Dug, you're gonna have to see this episode that we're doing, because it's the wildest thing I've ever read about. I mean, it's not the most famous mystery, but it is one of the most awe-inspiring when you see it, and one of the most like, what the heck were they getting ready for? You know, like what was above ground that they had to get away from?
They had these giant like 10-ton boulders or something that they would move in place to like seal themselves in. Kind of reminded me of Poltergeist 2 a little bit when they go down with all the bodies and all that.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, we'll talk about it more on the episode, but what were they protecting themselves from? You know,
I don't know. What is it that makes us so uncanny valley about certain things?
Yeah,
I really like the theory that it's like there was something humanoid at one point that was not quite human, but I don't know.
Or it's Smaug, one of the other. Peter Mars, thank you for the super chat. He says, hey, Michael, love the channel. Oh, thank you. Were there any legacy sequels you loved? I felt Blade Runner 2049, Dr. Sleep, and the first 2 Creed films were brilliant. I liked Blade Runner 2049. Sal, do you have any ones that
I'm trying to just make it through Blade Runner.
Oh
I
yeah,
fall asleep every time.
Do you look? You're not alone on that. So just to make you feel a little better about that, Blade Runner is one of those films that I respect and I like its intelligence, but it's not something that I like get amped up to watch.
Right.
I will say, however, the 4K of Blade Runner, the final cut, it's one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen on the format. Like, and I don't mean just the format. I mean, it's what the 4K experience for Blade Runner proves that it truly is one of the most beautiful movies ever. Like, and Melinda loves Blade Runner both as a movie and as an artistic experience. So she's now yelling at me because she can control the chat. Thank you very much. Right. But Melinda also really liked Blade Runner 2049. By the way, Melinda, I just realized the other night when we were watching that movie, Crazy Stupid Love with Ryan Gosling, and you couldn't remember who he was, and I was reaching for something, and I said, and I said, Drive. I don't know why I blanked on Blade Runner 2049, but obviously he's the head star. He's the main head star. He's the main star of that as well, which I know you liked. So, yeah. Okay.
I liked the first Creed movie. I went and saw it not knowing what it was. Like,
right.
I got dragged to the theater with some friends, and they're like, "We're gonna go watch the Creed movie." I was expecting to see a biopic about Scott Stapp or whatever his name is. I was like, I'm making a memory. And it was pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. It was pretty good. I'm one of the few that liked Jurassic World. When it was just the movie on its own.
Right,
I would have liked to have seen the successful park more before the, rinse and repeat story. And I forget what the other one he listed. But
my favorite legacy sequel, I think, is Rambo 4. I don't like Rambo 5, but I love Rambo 4. I think Rambo 4, it's my second favorite Rambo film. I thought Rambo 4 was just really, really good. I know there's another example in there somewhere, but I can't for the life of me recall it right now.
And Dr. Sleep wasn't that bad.
Yeah, Dr. Sleep, Melinda wanted to watch that. We have it on 4K still in the shrink wrap. She's never gotten in the mood to watch it. So
it's one of those where it pulls from, because there was the Stanley Kubrick movie, there was the made for TV movie, and I think and of course the book, and it kind of pulls from all of those to make a sequel. So it was, and if I can remember correctly, other than knowing who Danny is in the Outlook Hotel, like, you really don't need to see The Shining to watch it. It's still pretty good on its own.
Right.
But
Melinda is the keeper of the keys when it comes to anything, especially horror in the house. And then I take her lead on when she's ready to watch something like that. Like when she's ready to watch Dr. Sleep, I'll be ready. It's something that I probably won't reach for on my own, but I trust her judgment. So
I think it's Ewan McGregor in that movie.
I
think he plays adult Danny. So
yeah. Just Jeff, thank you for the super chat. He says, hope you're both doing well. Enjoy some Slurpees or moon pies on me. Thank you, Jeff. And also, I hope everything's going well with your rebuild of your abode after the errant tree fell into it. So,
the old Oklahoma does. The winds do certainly sweep down the plains.
Yes.
Can confirm.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Honor Guard DC with a very kind super chat. Thank you, sir. It's very kind of you. He says, Michael, I am aware of you through Analog Toys, the live stream you did with Analog, Scuba, Master Son, and Matt. And sorry about that, everybody. Google decided to just throw an alert at me. And the kind words they had to say about you were eye-opening. Consider me a fan. Oh, that's very humbling. Thank you for that. And thank you for being part of the random chat tonight. Sometimes we just do these when we're bored. And Sal and I both were like, you got anything going on? No, I got nothing going on. All right, let's go talk to everybody and see what's going on.
Yeah, can we delay it 5 minutes? I gotta wait for this paint to dry on the wall.
Yeah, I've got tables I'm setting up in there for the big freeze chamber finishing. And there were some friends of mine who were like, why are you using JB Weld instead of just normal filler and sanding? And I said, because honestly, I have such bad luck with what actually adheres to PLA that I'm not messing around. And also, all of these items are already that steel gray. Right. So if the paint doesn't adhere all that well, at least the JB Weld is the same literal shade of gray that all that is. So it's a win-win. Yeah. So.
I have more types of glue than I care to admit, because that's one of my toxic traits. Is do I have super glue at home? I better buy a tube.
Sal at Two Cents Toys has many adhesives, more adhesives than you've ever heard of. 50 are illegal in the United States. No, I'm kidding. Right. Let's see. Darth Wizzy Wizard, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, ordered some Stan Solo figures because of you. Thanks, Michael. No, thank Chris Smith. He's the one that deserves all the thanks, but I hope you enjoy them. He's got some cool stuff coming up. And just to go back to that one other chat, real quick, I just want to say that Tony and Matt and Master Son and Scuba, they admittedly they were all the ones behind that live stream that night. I wasn't against it or anything, but I admit it wasn't my idea. I was along for the ride, and I did not know that they were going to say such nice things. It's been very humbling. And of course, that's the moment in the live stream where the bit rate gets crunchy and so people's syllables go in and out. So I have to like infer what they're saying at this point if I ever wanted to go back. But thank you for the kind super chat, really.
When you have the lived experiences that people like myself and Michael have, you're used to people just dogpiling you and just not like it. It's something about the face. I don't know. Right. They just don't like you.
Right.
So when someone's nice to you, you're waiting for the, okay, what do they want?
Yeah.
So when people are just nice to you and say nice things about you, you're kind of like, I don't know how to process this.
Freddie's, that is exactly the way I am. Like, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, oh, compliments. Oh, I'm the focus of attention. I don't, you know. Yeah, I feel the same way. I just want to blend into the background. Freddie Sigma, thank you for the kind super chat. No message, but thank you for the super chat. And we have one here from, I think we both know this individual, Sal. This is somebody named Laserpants. Sal, I'm sorry, but Gavin said I have to beat you up for not liking Tears of the Kingdom.
Hey, it's fine, Ryan. I don't make the rules. It is what it is.
Have you and Melinda talked about Tears of the Kingdom?
We have.
Okay, so what's the general consensus between the two of you at this point?
The last time we spoke, I had completed 2 of the temples, and I don't think Melinda had gotten that far yet. And I had a very sour opinion of the game, and it's only soured further.
Oh, okay.
Because to me, it's fundamentally not a Zelda game. They've introduced a lot of mechanics that make it like Minecraft light. There's a lot of forced farming for things, and it's just, I don't know. I have a lot of. It took 6 years for the game to come out, and I don't think there was 6 years worth of development put into that game.
I see. I see.
And it's not like a big DLC or anything like that. It's just like, yeah, there's a lot of new things. There's this, there's that. There's the fusion mechanic, the Ultra Hand. There's all those things. Cool. It took you 6 years to develop that. Right. Not write the story. Okay.
Right. Yeah, it was weird when I saw Melinda playing it, because Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have really been Melinda's era of Zelda. You know, I was the original all the way through Ocarina of Time, and then
the best one.
And then college got in the way, and I never got to do Majora's Mask, and that's when I fell off the. Plus, I was tired of buying a console every time obviously Majora's Mask could have been.
Majora's Mask poster.
Yeah. Obviously, Majora's Mask could have been. I wanted to give it that gravitas. I didn't want to have people listening to me while you're pointing that out. Majora's Mask was on the N64, but I was in college and I was poor, so I couldn't go get that game at the time that it was out. And then after that, it was like, now every Zelda game is just going to be, you have to buy a new console to play the one Zelda, and I was out. So it was like, but Melinda has gotten into the Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom thing. She bought Breath of the Wild when it came out back in the day. So she's really been getting into those games. So it's been interesting to see because the format of those games is very different from what I was used to. Yeah.
There's the two main things for Tears of the Kingdom, Minecraft Lite aside,
right?
The story just completely undoes all the canon that they've established.
Right.
Which, admittedly, Breath of the Wild, people are like, where does this fall? Because there's 3 timelines now. They're like, where does this fall? Kind of thing. But it's like, this one just went and it's like erased all of it.
I didn't even know there were 3 timelines. I always just assumed they started over. I thought Zelda was the franchise that just starts over every time. Yeah. I didn't think there was. I didn't think there were timelines. So
there wasn't really. Like there was kind of like a man. This could kind of. But then Ocarina of Time showed up in that split because there's the child timeline, the adult timeline, and then the timeline where the hero doesn't show up.
Right.
Or the fallen timeline, they call it. And it's kind of like, okay, well, all these games loosely connect, so it's not like direct sequels or anything. But Breath of the Wild takes aspects from all 3 timelines and puts it into the game. Gotcha. And now they're trying to say, well, it's called The Legend of Zelda, so this is just a retelling of the story, but it's a little bit different. I'm like, that, yeah, okay, straw man. Like, but it's...
Bjorn Jorgensen. Is it Jorgensen? Is it a silent J? Could
like
be
Jorgen.
Jorgen, I'm not sure. But apparently it's wild. You just run for an extended period of time. Bjorn Jorgensen, thank you for the super chat. He says, for the Golden Girls reference. That's you, Sal.
That's me.
And then Brian Dillingham. Great to see you both. And thank you for the Dillinghamism. As always, it's a strange but wonderful tradition in this community, the Dillinghamsism. Lester San Jose, thank you so much for the kind super chat. He says, hey, you two. I know Sal isn't monetizing his channel, if I recall correctly. Either way, I hope this helps his house cause.
Oh, thank you.
I will make sure to PayPal Sal. I love the way that rhymes. I will PayPal Sal $16. So,
oh, boy. But yes, you're correct. I've turned off monetization because... It didn't. 1, taxes. 2, it didn't feel right leaving the monetization on when I'm not actively doing things.
Sure. So yeah, one of Melinda's favorite YouTubers, Jamie French, who's got like 600,000 subscribers or something. She just she turned off the billing on her Patreon. She said everybody can still access the stuff. You're all still members of the Patreon, but right now I've got to refocus, and so I just don't want you guys being charged while I'm refocusing. So. Enjoy, like, yeah. Let's see. I think I didn't delete that thing. Freddie, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Michael, what did you think of the Thundercats reboot that ran on Cartoon Network a few years back? Thanks for all you do. Sal, did you watch that reboot show?
No, that was after my time.
Oh, okay.
I'm familiar with it. Like, I like the art style that they went with, but it was after my time.
Yeah, I liked the art style as well. It didn't change my opinion that Panthro and Chitara are the best characters. They still are the best characters as far as I'm concerned. But I didn't really get into it enough to judge. So I don't want to give an unfair assessment, Freddie. So Lio, I promise you, Lio wants me to watch that at some point. So I shall. And Lio, I don't think I don't want to speak for Lio, but he has kind of a contrarian opinion about that show to others. So in the T-Cats community, Keith Knight, the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you for the kind super chat. Thank you for the 10 quid. He says, we have 10 effing cats. My home is stocked with various glues and repair fillers. The cats now regard the strongest glue repairs as a challenge. I would love to see what cats do to a JB Welted piece of furniture.
Indeed.
Yeah. And wow, Ramlo-chan, thank you for the kind super chat. He says, pleasure meeting you and Melinda right before Joe Fest. My wife and I bumped into you at the Hyatt Elevator Bank. Ah, yes, that's right. Let me see if I remember this correctly. Because I was keeping it in mind the whole time, hoping I would run back into you both, and I never did. So now I've oh man. All right, you know what? I'm gonna noodle on this because it's gonna come to me because I kept both of your names in my head all weekend, thinking when I run back into them, they're gonna be impressed that I still remember their names. And now, of course, it's been a week since Joe Fest. Apologies. I can't impress you now like I was going to over the weekend. So, but thank you so much for the kind super chat, and thank you for being on the stream tonight, and just thank you for saying hello. It was a pleasure meeting you and your wife. World Made of Cardboard. Wow, thank you for the kind super chat. He says, for work, I create photorealistic 3D renderings of architectural remodels. They can take an hour to render. One day, I rendered several versions of different wall paint. I literally watched paint dry. Wow. You have to actually keep an eye on that? Like you can't play Minesweeper or something? Well, that's, I guess not on the same computer because the render would possibly screw up, but wow. That's amazing. What did your wife say about that? Like, did she worry about you? I'm curious.
You can watch this paint dry, but you can't paint the bathroom.
Laserpants says you're really friends when Michael gives you his social security number. Shots fired at Master Son. And then Sal Melinda says the newer D&D movie is much better than the old one. It's not perfect, but you may be surprised. I was.
If it doesn't have Damodar in it, I'm not watching it.
With the silver lipstick.
Oh god, that was so bad.
Matt Movie 611, the man, the myth, and the MacGyver Photoshop. He says, just as a thank you for pointing me toward the Buck Rogers set from Kino Lorber. Great set. Glad you grabbed it. And I'm glad that it's satisfying your need to access that show. It's the best way to watch it. Question for Michael and Sal. Have you seen the SH Figure Arts Jamiroquai figure?
Bless you.
Is that really a thing? Are they really making a Jamiroquai figure? Or am I being punked?
I don't know. I'll Google it real quick.
All right, let's see. Logan Wood, thank you so much for the kind super chat. He says, Michael, you were talking last night about pulp heroes that were long overdue for a fresh film adaptation. Would you prefer they tried the Phantom or the Shadow first? All right, so I'm gonna full disclosure here. Right now, in the current climate we are in for movies and film writing, I don't want them touching any of these characters. I want complete, clean sweeps. I want house cleanings on all of these studios in their writing departments before they even tackle any of this. Honestly, my preference would be they start with the Shadow and they get a studio like A24 to do it. I don't want a mainstream studio touching that property. Like, they don't have the guts for it. I don't remember who. I'm trying to remember who made Sisu, but the production company that made Sisu would also be great to make the Shadow.
I think that was an Icelandic company or something.
Yeah, it was something like that. But they clearly understand that it's not about making the audience comfortable. It's about entertaining them. And I would love to see the Shadow done properly. Wow. Have we hit the nadir of action figures at this point?
I'm not sure where else we can go. Chester Cheetah from the Cheetos is getting an action figure.
Why? Why? And by the way, Logan, I don't have any problem with the Phantom at all either. I'm just saying that the Shadow's the one I'm really, no pun intended, gunning for them to do right for once. And anyway, but yeah, Chester Cheetah, really? Oh. And people say that, this is the golden age of action figures. I guess. Randall Guzik, thank you for the kind super chat. He says, Michael and Sal, what are your thoughts on Indiana Jones and Fate of Atlantis game and comic book series and the various indie novels? CD-ROM game is a classic. It's a great game. If you like point and click adventure from back then with the Scum engine, It's a great game. I play it every few years, probably halfway through. I haven't done a replay in a long time, like all the way through, like to completion. But I always like going back and clicking around and hearing the music and stuff. And then the comic book series for it is good. The various indie novels are hit and miss. They're much like the indie comics from Dark Horse and the indie films themselves. They can be hit and miss. But that's just like Bond films. Bond films are hit and miss. It's the pulp adventure hero can survive anything because there's always another adventure coming next, so if there's a low point or a dud, they can bounce back with a better adventure. That unfortunately is where Indiana Jones was sabotaged with Crystal Skull. And really, I say Last Crusade, but nobody wants to hear that from me. So, but yeah. Melinda says Sisu is Sub-Zero Film Entertainment, Stage 6 Films, Good Chaos. Well,
those are words.
Those are words. Was that a sentence?
Never heard of any of them.
Yeah, I never heard of any of them, but I would definitely choose them over any of the mainstream guys right now, just based on the result of Sisu. Matt Movie 611, thank you for the super chat. Another one because Sal rocks.
Oh, thank you.
Laser Pants, I wasn't given his social security number, but I do have it.
Very sneaky, sis.
I believe that. Laser Pants, wouldn't the Cat Slayer be like 7 feet tall at that scale? Probably. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
It's great because it's probably going to cost the same and you can be buried in it.
Yeah. And Lio Convoy says the tank is out of scale along with a ton of other issues. And he would know. He would know. That's very kind, Bjorn. Meeting Michael French was a highlight of my first convention. Well, I'm glad that I didn't disappoint, truly. Find My Figures. Thank you for the kind super chat. He says, thank you and Melinda again for being amazing. Meeting you both was a legendary moment in my life. Oh, that's too kind. By the way, we listened to Kylie Minogue as well as the rest of your recommended playlists all the way home. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you both as well. And A Ninja is very lucky to have you as his family. So one of the best dinners of my life, talking to the two of you. And yeah, a road trip listening to Kylie Minogue all the way home. I just can't think of anything better. Maybe, okay, here's how it would be better. Kylie Minogue all the way home on the radio in a 1987 Aston Martin V8 Vantage. That's the only way. That's the only way it would get better for me.
I was going to say with moon pies and RC, but I want to get the inside of the Aston dirty.
Oh, but it vacuums out. It'd be a one-time trip.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it's not a car we'd abuse.
Right. I feel like that's one that you would take your time and enjoy the ride.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And Sal and I have been joking about the fact that when we hang out later this year, we're probably going to stand around a classic car and just say yup with some like drink in our hand or something. Look at something, adjust something, call it a full day's work. Yeah. But it was such a pleasure. It was so good. I cannot wait to see all of you again. I really can. I cannot wait to hang out with you all again. I hope it's sooner rather than later. And Laser Pants says, thank you for the super chat. He says, I pre-ordered Chester Cheetah. I identify as a fan of Chester. It's who I am as a person.
I mean, listen, like Chester Cheetah, like they've already done like Count Chocula, and I'm pretty sure they did a Toucan Sam. So I guess maybe like if you're really into like cereals and things, like it probably fits in there. But it's just like it's a weird grab for me as an IP for them to just be like, you know who these people need? Food mascots.
That's how I feel every time they announce a new license like that. I'm like, what the? Like, I can't believe that they're wasting, a figure slot on something like that.
Next thing you know, they're gonna have like Elby's, Shoney's, and Bob's Big Boys, and then like the Three Brothers as action figures.
I'm not kidding. I am waiting for them to say we're doing a mashup. It's a Transformer that turns into a bottle of horsey sauce from Arby's, and it's an Arby's crossover. Like it's gonna happen. Like it's like when Lewis Black was talking about all the pre-game and post-game stuff in sports, where they talk and talk and talk and talk longer than the game goes on. And he's like, you know what's next? He's like, colonoscopies right up their rectums. He goes, because the only thing we haven't seen is the inside of their physiology. You know, that's the only place they have left to go. Like it
is the final frontier.
It is the final frontier. Yeah. Milton, thank you for the super chat. He says, way behind on the live. John Williams' score on Heart Beeps is underrated, especially the Crime Buster theme. Okay.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's some of those scores are actually pretty hard to come by. Even stuff as popular as even composers as well known as John Williams, some of their scores have fallen into the ether when it comes to physical media and accessing them. YouTube has helped with that in a way, because enterprising people have managed to take those rare discs and even LPs and certain cassette only releases and get them online. But
that's speaking of Lio, watching his video yesterday, day before, about the footage he acquired from eBay. And I'm very much in support of that. Like when you find like archival footage, it's preserve it digitally for everybody. Like what's the point in gatekeeping it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Logan Wood, wow, thank you for the super chat. He says, couldn't agree more. Arguably, the Phantom film had a bit more to offer than The Shadow, though it had top-tier costumes and Goldsmith scores magnificent. Any thoughts on casting for The Shadow? Yeah, I mean, I agree that where it stands right now, the two movies that were contemporary with one another, because I know they did another Phantom that went like straight to Blu-ray or something, but I'm talking about, if you're talking about the Billy Zane Phantom and the Alec Baldwin Shadow, the Phantom definitely was the superior movie of the two. I do find the Shadow, by that measure, still underserved, and personally still the more compelling character. So I feel like there's a lot more 21st century potential to revisit, and I don't mean set him in the 21st century. I mean through a 21st century filmmaking lens. I think the Shadow has a way to really establish itself as a great franchise. I'm not saying the Phantom can't, but given where we are with writers these days,
right,
what has a better chance? Like,
are they still on strike? Is that still going on?
I think they are. Yeah.
Well, good for them.
Casting for the Shadow. Oh man, I don't know.
There's who do we want, or who are they going to cast? Because Hollywood has their darlings.
Well, there's no Shadow project on the books right now, so
right. But I mean, like
us, yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying, though.
Right. We could say, I want this person, but like, oh, Tom Holland's the hot ticket. Get this kid.
Yeah, I mean, if they did it right, I know this is already someone who's aforementioned, but okay, so just go with me on this. I really think that aging into the role, and given his performance in Blade Runner 2049, I wouldn't put Ryan Gosling out of the running for a properly done Shadow movie. Not the cheese factor one that we saw,
right?
But like when you see him in Drive and you see him in Blade Runner 2049, he can do the hard stuff. Like he can do the violence and the brutality, and yeah.
It's kind of funny because that's who I was thinking about. So I was thinking either that or a really de-aged Liam Neeson.
Yeah. Oh, Liam Neeson, because of Darkman, he would have been great. But yeah, like I think Gosling has some miles on him that he could do it. The thing is that it would have to be like we can't keep doing this thing that they were trying to do in the early 90s where they were keeping it cheeky. It's like whoever decided to make the Shadow cheeky, what a huge misfire. Like that was, why did you do that? Like that, the Shadow should be rated R. Like it should be a rated R pulp thing. Like it,
right.
Yeah, it's a mess.
We can thank Batman for that.
Yeah. Brian Dillingham with another Dillinghamism, a strange tradition since 2020.
A lot of weird things came out of that year.
and yet we appreciate you so much, sir. Pitstain Hobbies, thank you for the super chat. Very kind. Have you guys seen the Tomy Back to the Future DeLorean crowdfund, which is NECA scale? If so, thoughts? I've heard about it. I didn't know it was a crowdfund. And as far as it being NECA scale for their figures, the only question I have is, will NECA figures' hips survive the bending to get put into the DeLorean?
I'm concerned about those rubber diapers that they wear.
Yes, the diaper crotches. Yeah, not good. I know they've improved their quality from what people have told me, including people like Bobby Valla have said they think the quality's gotten better. Lio Convoy just got their new Target exclusive Comic Turtles 4-pack. He said it doesn't feel like classic gross NECA. It feels like real plastic again, not glued together sawdust.
Right.
But yeah,
I won't lie to you. They almost got me. Like, I'm out of collection. They almost got me. They teased it and then they announced it. Their convention exclusive for whatever convention is the 4 turtles from Team NT3 and the samurai get up.
Wow.
They almost got me, and then the price was like $400. I was like, and you lost me.
Yeah, see, that's ridiculous. And that's the thing, like this Target 4-pack is like $155. And I'm like, I just don't know, as much as I love that art style that they're mimicking for those figures, I just don't know that I want to spend that right now on a pack of 4 action figures, especially since they're bringing out, they just brought out Casey Jones in that style, so he's still affordable, and they just brought out Splinter. But April O'Neil is from way back, and she's like $200, $300 now. And I don't want to have, because my grouping is always the 4 turtles, Splinter, April, and Casey. That's my group. And if they're not bringing those out the right way, like where I can access them in a reasonable price, if I can't get April, then I don't want any of them. So it just becomes this kind of problem. It's a first world problem, but it's a problem. Articulated Ninja. Wow. Thank you so much for being here, man. He says, Retro and Sal on screen. Sign me up. Sounds like a chill time. You and Mel are the best. Miss you guys. And I'm going to do 1 cent more just to beat Ryan.
So I don't, that's something I've always wanted to bring it up, but I never have. Thank you, A Ninja, for bringing that up. For whatever reason, Apple will not let you do exact dollar amounts. They only let you go to 99 and it stops. Like I've heard on Android, like you can actually like pick a specific dollar amount.
You can do whatever you want.
$199, or it's 99, $199, $499, $10.99. Then it jumps to like $20.99, then $50, then $100.
Right.
But it's all 0.99. Like it's never an even thing, and it drives me nuts.
Why do they? That's very weird. That's very weird that Apple would program it that way. Like, I would love to know the logic behind that. I would love to know.
Probably the same logic that's telling them to charge almost $4,000 for their VR headset.
Oh, geez.
They announced it, and they're like, it was like $3,499.99. So like, no one's going to buy that.
Nobody. Mon makes question for Michael. Did you get a chance to watch the Beast Wars season 1 after the review you did of the re-releases? Not yet. I've been busy getting other videos ready, but I have the series thanks to Lio Convoy. I will watch it, but if I start watching Beast Wars before I finish our Thundercats watch retrospective thing, he's gonna justifiably murder me. So I'm sticking with Thundercats. I've been good. I've been taking my notes. Wow, Jeremy Kerr, thank you so much for the kind super chat. I'm holding out for the NECA Mr. Whipple.
Lord.
So Jeremy Kerr was the man behind this gift right here.
Ah, yes.
An actual piece of the Last Crusade tank from Indiana Jones.
Used?
Yeah, and I love the fact that he put the date of the movie release on the top, and just the presentation of this. I mean,
that was the day after I was born.
Really? It was a harbinger of great things, Sal.
Or something.
But I wouldn't be surprised, Jeremy, if they brought out a NECA Mr. Whipple at this point. I would not be surprised. They've already done Count Chocula and Boo Berry and Frankenberry and all those things. They've already done them all. Have they done a Tony the Tiger?
I don't think so.
That seems like a big miss.
Maybe. Because I know that they did Captain Crunch, or Super 7 Captain Crunch.
Right.
Even though he's actually a commander, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know. That seems like a slam dunk.
Yeah, you would think, right?
Yeah.
Because can you imagine all the hype channels that do all the stuff? Yeah, this figure's great. And then we're all like, oh God. Logan Wood, wow, thank you for the kind super chat again. I know he carries a Star Wars sequel stigma, but I think Adam Driver wouldn't be the worst choice for the Shadow, though I really like Gosling, but he needs some help in the vocal department, I think. Listen, I mean, that's a fair point.
Adam Driver's a good actor.
He is. I don't have anything against Adam Driver. And he is, as women call him, women say he's, quote, ugly hot. So
you're saying there's hope for me.
So as you will. But yeah, if you put that scarf up underneath his nose, I mean, he looks the part for sure. I mean, I know that
over half my face, I look the part. That's
I know that in the mythology, sometimes it switches back and forth. Like sometimes they say his face changes and sometimes it doesn't. He just puts on the scarf. I more prefer that his face not just transform. I like the fact, even though it's not much of a disguise, I like the fact that it's just him with the scarf and the hat and stuff. So yeah, I'm not opposed to an Adam Driver Shadow. I'm not a Kylo Ren fan, but I don't hold that against Adam Driver. So I don't have anything against any of the actors generally that are in bad films.
Right.
So I don't go and blame, oh, Ben Affleck as Batman ruined everything or whatever. Like George Clooney is Bat. It's like, yeah, okay, they can be the butt of the joke, but is it really why the movie was bad? I don't think so. You know.
Right. Yeah, just like Oscar Isaac, phenomenal actor.
Yes. I'm still not brave enough to watch Ex Machina.
It's so good.
I've heard it's amazing. But I'm actually scared to watch it because I have a very grim outlook on the future. And so that movie is hitting really close to home for where I see people wanting to go. Like they all want the brain implants and they all want the sex robots and they all want and I'm just kind of like,
I'm holding out hope for the suicide booth.
Right. Thank you for choosing. But I keep hearing Sam's words echoing in my mind. Don't go where I can't follow. Like I feel like I'm going to be living in the hills or something if this keeps up.
Yeah.
Honor Guard DC, thank you for the super chat. He says, speaking of pulp hero movies, I liked John Carter and wish it had been successful, but I would like to see a better effort. I have that on Blu-ray. Definitely one of the under the radar movies of the year and sabotaged by bad marketing. They hired one of the best Pixar creators to work on that movie, and it was his passion project. He did a good job with that film. Unfortunately, Disney screwed up the marketing. Shocker. Holy crap. Thank you so much for the kind super chat. Call me Mr. Broad Street. Wow, that's very generous. Keep up the amazing work. Also, great featuring on Stan Solo. He is an amazing artist. Thank you very much. I know that some people like to sit there and say that some people were arguing with me over the last few days. They were sending me messages unsolicited saying, well, you know, Chris Smith is actually a bad person. And I always fight on all these people. There were like 7 of them separately, different platforms. And I fired back saying, so Chris Smith has stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars from his customers. And you'd see like the little thing typing and then there'd be a pause and then typing. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Let's wait for this one. And they're like, well, no, but you know, he is known for being rude sometimes. And I'm like, so you equate a prickly personality occasionally with stealing from people. That's what you're saying. Like, okay,
words are violence now, Michael.
Right? Like, look, I get it that you feel burned that you and Chris Smith got crossways and everything, but I told the one guy, I said, did he take your money when he got mad at you and not give it back? He's like, well, no, I got my money back, but he refused to sell to me. And I went, but you got your money back. He didn't steal from you.
Yep.
What
big difference?
Yeah, it's kind of a really big difference. Like, and they're like, no, he's still a bad person. It's like, we're not talking about Chris Smith right now. We're talking about an actual thief. All right. We're talking about an actual con man.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's crazy, man. It's crazy what people will do. Their mental gymnastics.
Well,
what? Please continue. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, well, we start calling how we have the term Mary Sue is a thing. We should start calling those people Mary Lou's, like Mary Lou Retton.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Mary Lou's. Coining it now. Trademark. Stamp it.
Trademark to Since Toys. 2023. Scott Hughes, thank you so much for the kind super chat. Just because two of my favorite people are on screen. Well,
hello, Scott.
Scott, I hope you're doing well, my friend. And I want to hear some progress updates on that work. I don't ever know what to call it. Your workspace, your office, your workshop, whatever you want to call it. What's that?
Call it his dream.
His dream, yes. Want to hear some updates on the dream.
That dude almost got me the other night.
Yeah.
So I never really went over it on the channel ever, mostly because I got the figures late and all that kind of stuff. But I really, really love Universal Monsters. Because despite the little horror corner, I'm actually a big horror fan.
Right.
And Mondo is this company. They do like 1/6 scale, and they did a Gillman or a creature from the Black Lagoon. And I missed the pre-order, all that kind of stuff. And he was like, "Hey, is this one you're looking for?" Because I'm not buying toys, but it's like there's always one that I'm like, no, be strong. And he sent me a photo, and wherever he was at, and I was like, oh, if it wasn't that much, you probably would have got me. But I came close anyway. I was like, I can eat ramen for a couple days.
Yeah,
but I came close. You almost got me.
I've been sitting on my hands. I told Scott the other day, I said, I've been trying to complete the because I collected it when I was right out of college. But when you're right out of college, you have money 1 month and then not the next. I've been trying to complete my run of Top Cow Tomb Raider comics. And it gets difficult when you get towards the end, because I did not know that Adam Hughes started doing all the covers for the last issues because they were trying to get sales higher. And so I told Scott the other day, I said, I've gone on eBay to look. I said, but thinking about it for some reason, paying that amount of shipping for individual comics that only adds to the price. I said, I just can't bring myself to do it. It would be foolish. So I'm sitting on my hands, not doing that. And I'm going to wait for a comic show, sometime in August here in Atlanta and see what I can get there. I'm just going to do that, because I can't justify that amount of money just being, I feel like I'm throwing shipping money into the fire doing that. So Tony Robles, thank you for the kind super sticker, and it was great meeting you at Joe Fest. It was such a thrill to finally put a face with a name. It was great to meet you, and thanks for just hanging out tonight. KBA, thank you for the super chat. He says, hope you guys have a drama-free week. Would love to see properly done films for G8 and Operator 5, as well as the other pulp heroes and heroines. Yeah, there's so much there to mine that hasn't been touched, because these companies have become so corporate. Corporations and the people that run corporations, they don't know much about much, and they don't like what they don't understand, and they don't understand a lot. And so the things they do have, they don't understand either, but at least they have name recognition for them. So they're only going to keep doing those like 5 or 6 things. They're never going to branch out, because their idea of name recognition is cowardly. They don't have any ambition to try and burst some new awesome thing onto the scene that nobody was expecting. That they're not risk takers. They're totally risk averse. Yeah. So it's a real shame. It's a real shame that this is where we are.
Which I have theories about that, but that's kind of a heavy topic on the remakes and recycles and all that, and what kickstarted all of it.
Oh, sure, yeah. So what do you have a boilerplate version of that, or do we need to do a whole stream about
it? I don't know if a whole stream would be the right call. I tell you what, I'll condense, make it small, and let people want more. So if they want to, desire to know more, intensify. I blame 9/11 for it.
Oh, okay.
Because if you look, we're on a track for new. That happened, and then there was some new things, but that's when remakes and reboots started generating. And I think it just culturally speaking, it knocked everyone back. Everything changed. The world was scary and different. There's solace and comfort in things that you recognize. So let's bring those things out.
Right.
And then people put money into it, and then they just rinse repeat because, hey, this worked. Let's just keep doing that.
Oh, that's a good point, because before that, you're right. We were on a track with The Matrix and the new Mummy series and a number of others. And you're right. And then suddenly just whammo, it kind of all fell to pieces.
And that's not to say that there weren't new things. There were new things, but by and large, it was let's pull all this stuff up out of the dirt. So,
KBA, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Hope you guys have a." Oh, I've already read that one. I'm going to read it again. Hope you guys have a drama-free week. Would love to see properly done films for G8 and Operator 5, as well as other pulp heroes and heroines. I agree with you, sir. Gamer X, wow, thank you so much. Very generous. He says, anything, movie, shows, games that has had a big reboot remake that you guys found worthwhile, good or great. Example for me, Resident Evil remakes, Prey, Predator. P.S. Put me down for NECA Mr. Cool Whip, hippest in town. I would say for my answer, Gamer X, while it has been a divisive trilogy, I really, really liked the 2013 Tomb Raider reboot game. I appreciated what they tried to do with the second one, and I really didn't like the third one, aside from the graphics. Like, the graphics were really good, but the story isn't there, whatever. Like, but I really liked the 2013 game. One of the best, much like the original 1996 Tomb Raider game, when I played it as a kid or teenager in 96, one of the best gaming experiences of my life. I mean, like, really, really good. But as far as shows and movies, anything that has had a big reboot remake that I found worthwhile, nothing that I can think of offhand.
I very, very, very much enjoyed the remake of It.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just the first one. I didn't like the same with every iteration of It. The first half when they're kids is great. The second half when they get to adults, it's like, okay,
right.
I don't know. Maybe it's the thing that, like, I like the Goonies. I like Stranger Things. Maybe, I don't know.
Right.
But and I'm excited for the Nosferatu remake.
Oh, with Willem Dafoe?
I think it's Willem Dafoe and Robert Eggers.
Yep.
And, Robert Eggers has yet to make a movie that I haven't loved. So sign me up.
Is that the guy that did Lighthouse?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He did Lighthouse, The Witch, and Northman.
Oh, I've seen The Northman. Very, very good movie.
Yeah.
Hard. I think it's going to be a hard movie to watch twice.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord. Like, I joked when we got out of Sisu. I said Sisu is like the rewatchable Northman. Like, I can rewatch that movie a lot. But I can't think of any movies or shows offhand that had reboots or remakes. I mean, because it's a continuation, I feel like it's cheating to say that the new Doctor Who from 2005, it's kind of a relaunch reboot, but it's also still in continuity. So I don't want to cheat and say that, but that would be the closest that would come to that for me.
And on a similar note, I don't know if it counts or what you would call it, but What We Do in the Shadows, I'm really enjoying that. Like the movie was hysterical.
Right.
And this one, like they kind of touch on it a little bit. There's like one episode where those characters are in it.
Yeah.
But it's like a similar concept, different characters, but it's so funny.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I really enjoyed that show.
We need more original, and I know that the What We Do in the Shadows is now a few years old as a movie, but at least it was something new that came out, and it was, we need more of that desperately. Analog Toys says, I'm a thief. I stole Ryan's heart at Valicon. Well, I don't know what you guys got up to there, after a few drinks, after the convention center closed down. I'm not going to ask. So that's up to you, but I'm glad you had a great time. Let's see. KBA, are you an angel? A what? Let's see. Not Top Goon. Thank you for the super chat. He says it was really awesome meeting you, Michael. It was awesome meeting you too. It was great to get to talk to you. Valicon was a legendary moment for me. Also, my friend is a massive fan of Eclipse now. I'll always enjoy your intuitive commentary. That's very kind. I am a massive Eclipse fan, so I get what you're saying. I think there's a lot of untold depth and potential with that character that will be revealed, I'm sure, in the next few years. But as the story unfolds, but just the aesthetics of the character alone, such a great action figure, and I'm so glad that Bobby did the variant on it, which I think I have. Thought I had it sitting right here. I guess. Oh, here it is. It's right here, covered under these papers. But yeah, it's a great figure. I got to get it out of the box at some point, but can't wait. But yeah, it was great meeting you, not Top Goon, and hope to see you again at another event. That'll be a lot of fun. Let's hang out. Cowboy from HelloFresh. Just because you guys are awesome. Gordon's alive? Sorry, I saw his avatar. Thank you. It's very kind. Very kind. We have, oh my gosh, Sal, guess who's here?
Uh-oh.
Raymond Hoy.
Oh boy.
He says with another just ridiculously generous super chat. Hi, Michael and Sal. Michael, the compliments you get are well deserved. Very kind. Appreciate that. For the simple reason that they're true. Well, as you know, Sal and I think I can speak for Sal in this regard. We're both big fans of the truth. Yeah. Your integrity makes you stand up to idiots like Chris Cron and the Fan Strike Back, which is why we Retro Blasters support you. By the way, I'm loving Foils War. Foils War is a really good show. Highly recommended to anybody that loves period war drama and detective series and things like that, as only the British can do. But Raymond, it's always great to I love the fact that we've been friends for so many years, and I cannot wait to finally meet you in person at some point in the future. But thanks as always for just being there and being supportive. And you know, if there's anything that I can do for you, you just let me know. Seriously. But yeah, great to see you here. And thank you again for the super generous super chat. You never have to do that, but thank you. And MasterSon42 says, for the record, I love these pop-up live streams. You know who else loves them, Master Son? Scott Hughes, because he will email me sometimes and be like, hey, you know what it's a really good time for right now? And I'd be like, what? And he's like, pop-up live stream. like I'm in the middle of like JB Weld mixing and stuff, or I'm like sanding something, or I'm like, what time were you thinking? So yeah. But I'm glad that you like these. Well, let's see. So, we're at perfect time. So we're right at 90 minutes. So it's time for the unboxings.
Oh boy.
But Sal, I wanted to ask you before we jump into the next phase of this, your pop culture radar right now, your in any medium. I don't mean toys. I mean like in anything right now. Like what have you been allowing to grab your attention within, say, the last 4, 5, 6 weeks?
Video games.
Uh-huh.
I have but before all this, I had an even worse habit of buying video games and never playing them.
Uh-huh.
And they're like $60 a pop.
Oh, really?
And I decided I will not be doing that again.
Uh-huh.
So now when I get a game, I play it until it's done. And
Wow.
so I've been playing Jedi Survivor, Tears of the Kingdom, and now I'm playing Diablo 4.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Are you enjoying Diablo 4?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been playing Diablo for, how old am I? 21 years.
So how is the sequel? How old is Diablo 4? Is it brand new? Is it just out?
It came out 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that.
And how does it hold up to the wait?
Well, it has been 11 years since the last one. It's all right. Diablo 1 I barely remember. Diablo 2 is where I really cut my teeth, and then Diablo 3 was a 10-year wait, and I was excited for it. I didn't care, like I was just consume. And now looking back at it compared to Diablo 4 and Diablo 2, it's like World of Warcraft colors. Like it's very bright and vibrant and not really Diablo at all. And this one's more of a return to form.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't speak to the story because I button mashed through all of it. So
what is the biggest disappointment you've ever had in waiting for us?
Oh,
which one?
I said being born, but continue.
The biggest disappointment on anticipating a sequel to a game series you love, like, and then the game shows up and you're like, God, this is, what a crestfallen moment this is for me.
Believe it or not, as much as I love Zelda as a franchise, I'm starting to feel like Star Trek fans because most of the movies aren't good. And because I hard stopped at Nintendo 64, I didn't get the other consoles until I got Switch. And so when I played Twilight Princess or anything like that, it was always on a friend's console or something like that. And so it took me playing through twice to appreciate Breath of the Wild because it was so vastly different from everything else. Skyward Sword was tremendously awful. The story was fine. It was okay. But there's only like 3 areas and you keep backtracking and going back. And I didn't like didn't like the art style. Because I really liked Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
I like the darker tones to Zelda because it's a potentially dark story. But Skyward Sword's all very like kid friendly. It's like the Fisher Price of Zeldas. And then waited 6 years for Tears of the Kingdom. And
Skyward Sword's not the one that was cell shaded, was it? With the little almost like
that's Wind Waker.
Oh, so was that okay?
I missed Wind Waker completely. I've never played it. It's the only mainline title Zelda I haven't played.
Yeah, that was for the GameCube, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep. And Wii U randomly.
Oh.
I had a chance. There's a store not too far from here called Video Game Remedy. They specialize in vintage games. And they had a Wii U Wind Waker game with the Wii U, but it was like Wind Waker themed. It was $300 for the console. And I'm like, 300 plus the 60 for the. I'm like, that's $360 just to play a game.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll wait for it to get a remaster.
Sure.
So, but it's the only mainline title I haven't played. But Skyward Sword was grossly. Oh, well, it wasn't really a sequel. But I played Metroid Prime Remastered, and I'd never played Metroid Prime, and Metroid's my other favorite franchise, and people have told me how great the Prime series is, and I hated it. Metroid is a 2D platformer.
Yeah.
End of story.
I had that experience with Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness. I was highly anticipating it because it was the first time that franchise, I'd been playing every game every year because they'd had a game every year from 96 to 2000. And then, no, that's 9, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, to 2000. So they had 5 games one a year for 5 years. And then there was like this hiatus because they were making the next gen, the PS2 console version and PC, you know, the next gen graphics, game engine, whatever, in concert with it. And it got delayed, and then it got delayed again, and that never bodes well. And then like Gollum, right? And then when it finally came out, I remember I was in grad school, and I was like, it's like I don't have the money to buy it right now. Well, of all things, I don't remember. It was like a year. It was almost a year later, and I can't remember what I was doing, but my computer needed more graphic memory. So I went and I went to buy a graphics card. And I wasn't trying to buy anything super expensive. I was buying like a mid-range budget graphics card. And when I went to Micro Center to get this graphics card, I kid you not, the graphics card box said included inside Tomb Raider, Angel of Darkness. And I was like, really? Like what? Huh? So I got the game and I took it home, and I'm sure you've heard how notoriously bad that game is. Like it's buggy, and the level up stuff makes no sense because that was never part of the game, and it was so awful. Like
I thought I was having a stroke.
Like it was just so yeah.
Does anyone smell burning feathers?
I know, right?
So similarly, there's a joke in the retro gaming community about Donkey Kong 64 because late life Nintendo 64, you had to buy what's called a RAM pack, which is a little RAM expansion for certain games. Majora's Mask is one that needs that,
right?
And Donkey Kong, I think was the first game to require it, and so it came packaged with the game. And now the RAM pack, if you want to buy it secondhand, is like $60, $70, $80, where Donkey Kong 64 is like $10.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh my God. Because I had that expansion pack that I bought separately at the time so I could play Episode 1 Racer, which actually is mostly not a bad game. But anyway, go ahead.
But Donkey Kong 64 was so, I don't want to say unanimously hated because I loved the game, but I was also 10. But people didn't like the game, so the joke was, oh yeah, when you buy the RAM pack, you get a free copy of Donkey Kong 64.
That is funny. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I wondered. Okay, so let's get really nerdy for a minute. If you were a video game collector of components and everything else, vintage gaming, retro gaming, whatever they call it, is it more valuable to find the expansion pack unopened, single packed, than it is in Donkey Kong 64?
I would say by itself for sure. Just again, because people didn't like the game. Right. I like the game, but it's, I don't know, I guess nostalgia would also have to come into it because, you know, if you first experienced it by getting Donkey Kong, then
right. I mean, I bought it. I ran to a Walmart because that was when they first came out with those packs, and there was only one Walmart in the area that had it. They only had 2 of them, and I called ahead and ran over there, and I bought it in its own dedicated box. There was no Donkey Kong that came with it because I didn't need it for that. So, yeah.
Yep. Mine came with the game that came with my Nintendo 64. So it was a late life bundle.
Wow.
Which I'm very mad at myself now because I had the Jungle Green. It was a dark translucent green, which is right up my alley.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Like I have a 64 from childhood because I had the green one, then I got the black one.
Yeah.
Just by happenstance. And I won't go into the store and where the green one went. It's not important. But
right.
I was on eBay one day, like, you know what? I'm gonna get that for nostalgia's sake. Like my 64 was green. Like I want that one. $200. Because they late life 64, they did translucent bodies.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, we need to up these sales because GameCube's coming out.
Yeah, I remember the translucent color in 64s because mine was the standard like dark gray. Mine was the original release dark gray. But Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how they started to market consoles back then. I remember seeing the scaled down Nintendo and Super Nintendos when they came out at the time, right at the end of their lifespan. And it's funny that those are now considered esoterically collectible and more valuable than the original consoles. Like they're, because the production runs were smaller.
I had an arcade style controller for my Super Nintendo. I had a joystick on top and buttons. And I sold that in like, I don't know, 2009, 2008, something like that. And I got like $30 for it, which when you're in college, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious now, because that was when retro gaming wasn't really like a big thing. So I'm just wondering what it would be now. Like we had the light bazooka thing too.
Right. Yeah, the Super Scope or whatever it was.
Super Scope.
Yeah, I didn't bring my consoles with me to college because my Super Nintendo actually, we took care of our stuff. We didn't abuse it, but my Super Nintendo crapped out. Like it couldn't do mode 7 anymore. So you couldn't play through most of the games. Like you literally couldn't progress. And we never figured out why that happened. And so we eventually just had to bin the console. I kept all the peripherals and sold them to a electronics boutique.
I remember EB Games.
I got pennies on the dollar, but I was able to shore up enough cash. And of course, yes, I did. We kept the boxes and manuals for all of our games. So a boxed manualed GoldenEye, a boxed manual Link to the Past, a box like these games just went. Now I was smart because I kept, of all the games that we took over there to let go of, I did not bring Secret of Mana with me deliberately. I kept Secret of Mana, and I still have it boxed, manualed, and everything over there. So
if you ever need to make a monthly mortgage payment, you know what to do.
Yeah, I've heard that game is now like stupid pricey. So
like this, I bought this from Video Game Remedy for it was a birthday present to myself, just a NES copy of Metroid.
Right.
It was like $39.
Right.
Just the cartridge.
Yeah.
Which back 20 years ago, you would have found these at a yard sale for 5 cents.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
hell, you would have found them at a yard sale for 50 cents to $1 like 7 years ago. I mean,
they would have paid you to take it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Shockwave 75, thank you for the kind super chat. He says, I'm a little behind. How about a Pulp Hero cinematic universe, like a live action Defenders of the Earth, throw in the Shadow and maybe Dick Tracy? If they could get the rights together for it, I'd love to see them attempt it, but boy, that would be a cluster.
Yeah, for me, it's one of those, like, I think the superhero genre is a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, it is. We need a break.
I don't know if I have that many years left in me for them to put this universe together.
We need what we really need now with the Super Mario Brothers movie having been done so well is we need a paradigm shift and some really, really decent video game adaptations. Is what we need.
Yes.
I'm still waiting for my decent Tomb Raider movie.
Yep.
Killamagwai, thank you for the kind super chat. He says, appreciate you guys, and we appreciate you. Impossible Pie says, Michael, would you ever do a video about Lawrence of Arabia? That is your favorite movie, correct? Yes, it is my favorite movie of all time. And yes, I would love to do a video about Lawrence of Arabia. I'm just so afraid I wouldn't do it justice because a lot of people, when they start talking about their favorite movies, I believe a person when they say it's their favorite movie, like, but I almost think like that's such a high bar to reach to even talk about something that's so profoundly affected your life. Like it's right. So I'm actually afraid to talk about it because I would love to do it justice because I hold it in such high regard, but I'm not sure, that I'd be able to do that, but I'm not opposed to, I've wanted to talk about it, but it's kind of a scary prospect. Let's see. Oh, Endless Bullet says anything can be the hobby. Dudes that go to massage parlors call themselves hobbyists.
I thought they called themselves knobbyists.
Zing. I know some people like to say that he's like a misunderstood genius, but I don't think so. I think he's just a trash filmmaker, honestly. But some people swear that he's actually awesome and that we just don't understand him. Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I have 3 boxes here to open tonight. So the first one is from LaCroix's Toys. LaCroix, for those of you that don't know, is a great GI Joe customizer, and he's also trying to start. He does O-ring custom O-ring figures. So like, so he did this Force of Freedom Rambo, you know, and he did this Man with No Name Clint Eastwood.
When I saw that photo, I was like, he got the dude from Jurassic World.
No, this is the Man with No Name, Clint Eastwood's character from Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And now he did not make this figure, but he painted it after getting the Lara Croft. So working holsters on that Lara Croft too.
Nice.
All right, so we have this box here from him. If I can get it open, this is one of those weird boxes that has like the hinges. It's like a flap with a hinge and a
it has like the teeth that go in, then you flap it and flap it.
Yeah, it's like okay, here we go. It's open now. I can be trained. Okay. So in this bag, what do we have? We have
malaria.
Oh God, it's anthrax. Oh, there's a lot in here. Okay, so we have holy shnikes. A custom GI Joe scale O-ring Warduke.
That's incredible. That's what Warduke should have been from the jump.
Yeah. The paint work he did on this is amazing. Look at that.
That's impeccable.
I'll get pictures of it for Instagram so people can see it. He's even got the belt hook for. I think his weapons are in here too. So stand by. I want to make sure I don't knock him over because his helmet is really. Wow, his weapons are like really detailed. Like, look at that.
Oh, wow, working sheath.
Yeah, and it actually pegs into his back if you want. He's got the fully detailed and painted classic shield. And he's got
and I bet it actually fits in his hand too.
Yeah, it does. And he's got the dagger that goes on. Oh, I'm not in the right area. There you go. Wow, that is really impressive. And then, speak of the devil, look what he sent. He sent the Man with No Name's poncho.
That's pretty cool.
So I guess what I'd have to do is I'll have to take the character apart. I'll have to unscrew him so I can put this over his head. But I will do that so that he will have that. Thank you so much, Matt LaCroix. Okay, well, since we've almost been going for 2 hours, Logan, thank you so much for the kind super chat. He says, I'll gladly co-sign an endorsement for LaCroix Toys. He made an 89 Dolph Lundgren Punisher for me, and it was choice. Yeah, he does incredible work, and I will be putting these figures in a place of honor for sure. I think what I'm going to do, unless you're opposed to this, Sal, should we save the box that you sent me a few weeks ago, the box with all the stuff in it? Should we save that for another live stream all its own, or should we do it?
No, there's nothing in there that cool.
Are you sure? Maybe not to you, but to me.
Yeah, maybe. It's pure coincidence. I didn't know that Sal
did not know that I was opening these boxes tonight. So, okay, so we have a box from Sal. And do I read this later?
Oh no, that's from the Hellfire set.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah. It's like you've been cordially invited to something.
This is awesome. Okay, so Sal he said there was a surprise in here, and there's a lot of surprises in here. So he made me a figure scale X-Men arcade cabinet that I can put my actual X-Men arcade figures in front of for an Instagram photo to rival all Instagram photos, and that is what I will do. And I love the fact that your screenshot has Dazzler and Nightcrawler on it. You clearly know me. So this is really detailed. How long did this take you to make?
I didn't want to interrupt you. I didn't make that.
Oh, you didn't make this?
Mm-mm.
Where did you find this?
A friend of mine made that for me like 5 years ago.
Oh, you gave it up? You gave it up just for me.
Just for you.
Wow. Well, thanks, man. This is awesome. I can't wait. I'm gonna get some mileage out of this.
On the inside of it, if you flip it over, there's like a little cradle on the inside.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Where you can put like a little LED thing that actually lights up the screen.
Actually lights up the screen. I'm definitely doing that because I just ordered LED puck lights from Amazon for this upcoming freeze chamber thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's awesome. Dang, that's really cool. Well, thanks. This is great. I cannot wait. There's going to be so many photos. Dazzler pushing everybody else out of the way because she's the best player. Whoa, now wait a second. Why are you sending me a vintage Jedi Luke Skywalker? What's up with that?
Oh, that's my childhood one.
I'm sorry, what?
That's my childhood Luke Skywalker.
Why are you sending this to me?
Well, I mean, all the other vintage stuff's gone, and I didn't want him to be by himself, and I figured he'd be best with you.
I know, but I mean, do you want me to like reunite him with some accessories and send him back to you?
No. If you want to
I'll put him in a little display cylinder.
That's okay. If you want to reunite him with accessories and he can stay there, it's fine.
You're sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to touch a single scuff on him.
Oh, don't worry. The nose is already rubbed. Don't worry about that.
No, I know the nose is rubbed, but what I mean is I'm not going to attempt to erase over his childhood history.
That's
okay.
I
will leave him as is, but I'm still tempted to reunite him with some gear because I think he deserves it. Okay, I'm going to put this one in a very safe place. Okay. All right, let's see here. Oh my gosh, Master Son 42. If you try to end this stream right now, I swear I'll send you a very adult box that you will open on a live stream. Something really obscene like a bantha from.
Good luck finding one.
Yeah, you have an hour more to go. All right. We will keep going. We will keep going. What? Okay. So he has also Sal has sent along. I'm assuming this is also a childhood figure.
Maybe.
Is this Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan from?
Oh, it is. It is Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan. That's not a childhood figure. He's in that box for a specific reason.
Okay, because he's got the metal hilt, which was one of the best eras of the modern figures when they came with the metal hilts. This is okay. So I have the metal hilts, the metal hilt era. This era for Bespin Luke and Darth Vader from that set that you put them together and they do the thing. And I have the Hoth Han Solo that came with the lightsaber from that same set. So I'm assuming you sent this to me because we both have an affinity for Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. Is that?
Or there's that, and it's kind of the inside joke. They're better than a clone army. So
they're using a bounty hunter named Jango Fett to create a clone army. I don't know, Master. Training. I want to get back in my ship.
I'm getting all wet.
It's very wet out here. Thank you. This is awesome. I love the I think the most hilarious figures from that line when I saw them on pegs were the screaming Mace Windu and then the like Frank Frazetta Padme, like where she was wildly posed.
Yeah.
It was like she was like the blaster version of Buddy Christ. Like she kind of had, like the. Now wait a second. Now whoa. Wait. Is this an actual prototype?
Yeah.
Why did you send me this?
Well, I'm paring down. So prototypes are hard to price. so it's hard to sell. And I'm like, I don't want to sell the prototypes because I don't want to do the pricing. But I was like, I don't really want some of these. And I was like, who might appreciate an episode 2 Obi-Wan prototype? Michael.
I know, but like, you ever heard the phrase, "We're not worthy"? Like, I'm super appreciative. Like, I'm blown away. I didn't even know you had this.
Oh yeah, he's been living in my little detolf back there for a while. So that's why I sent you the other one, because that's the production with the prototype.
Guys, are you seeing this? You know what's doubly hilarious about this? The cosmic irony of this is Michael is known on RetroBlasting, not to speak about myself in the third person, for not really being like what do you call it? An unreleased figure collector, or I always collect what's on. And so of course it stands to cosmic humor that the one mainstream prototype I end up owning is from a Star Wars prequel. If you ever want this back, I will be its steward, but I will consider this museum display on permanent loan, but I will not take this from you. It is always yours if you ever find out what its value is, and then you want to sell it.
It's worth whatever you think it's worth.
I want you to get that house, my friend, and so if we can make that happen,
We'll work on that eventually. I got to get rid of all this other crap first.
I feel like he's walking by himself in one of those amber chambers in the crappy miniseries, and he's seeing his own.
One of my favorite parts about that prototype is that they couldn't even be arsed to give him his own lightsaber. They had to give him Anakin's lightsaber.
Which is hilarious, I admit. Although I know this is thin rigs, but there is a continuity error in the Revenge of the Sith lightsaber fight.
There is.
They are holding each other's sabers momentarily, but they cut the transition out. And so it's like, what's going on? And again, I know this is Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan. I get that. I know I'm really reaching here. So
this is thin, Riggs. This is very thin. This is anorexic.
Okay, so the last bag in here is 2 vintage Robotech miniature mechas.
Yeah, those are also from childhood.
Oh my god. So you would have bought these during the Exo Squad era? Is that right?
Yep.
Why are you giving me your childhood toys? What's up with that?
Well, I'm to a point where it's like I have things from childhood, but I'm like, I need to start paring down even some of that. And I was like, you know what? Michael likes Robotech. He can appreciate these more than I do.
But like, these are your childhood toys, like your childhood Luke Skywalker. Like,
yep.
I mean, when I see these things come out of a box, right? And you're sitting there in front of me, and I'm thinking, oh, what? Oh, you sent me a vintage Jedi Luke. Thanks. And then you're like, no, that's my childhood one. And my first thought is like, no, why? Like, what do you do?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, that Jedi Luke and I were recently reunited when I went home to visit my mom. So he was kind of like dead and buried to me for a long time, because I thought he went with the rest of the stuff in that yard sale forever ago.
Right.
So when I found him in my mom's basement reunited after all this stuff already being gone, I was like, well, he's already dead to me. So,
well, you know what? I'm going to be seeing you in a few months, I hope, here, or really a few weeks, if you really think about it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see if I can't get him reunited with his cool stuff before you get here. And maybe you'll rethink, and maybe you'll take him back with you. I'll even give him a nice display cylinder. I'm going to make him an offer that you can't refuse. Or you might still walk away from it. You might have said, you know what? I got no soul left for this character. I'm good with it. You might still do that, and I'll honor that. But I'm gonna try and make it as enticing as possible. for you to want to just reclaim it. Like,
well, I kept my Power of the Force 2 Jedi Knight Luke, you know,
which is respectable.
Yeah.
Is he black vest or brown vest?
Black.
So. Okay. I actually got a brown vested one before I knew it was a variation. I got it in the wild. So.
Wow.
But then I ended up selling it back in 2004 because I was trying to sell everything to get the vintage stuff because the vintage prices were down right before Revenge of the Sith. So, well, everybody, this Hellfire Club thing right here kind of indicates what is in this other box. But Sal told me he wanted me to open it now, so I'm going to open it now.
Yep, and I know there's extras in there, but I can't remember what I put in there.
You put more surprises in. Or is it more like Island of more childhood toys that's going to make me cry or something?
Maybe. I don't know.
Man.
It's most of the time when someone buys stuff from me, I like put the stuff they ordered, then I usually like sprinkle in other things.
And
like you saw Drew G's unboxing.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That guy's living right. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I had my priority. Well, as luck would have it, I actually sold all my Power of the Force 2 ships.
You sold all your ships? Well, the ships are like hot right now.
Yeah, I know. And I sold them for a song.
Wait a minute. Why'd you sell them for a song? People want those.
I know. Yeah, it's what I do.
I'm not saying you shouldn't have sold them. I'm just saying maybe you should have.
Well, I should have charged more because I in my brain I was like, okay, this much shipped, which was a sweetheart deal, and then I really underestimated the size of because almost the only one that didn't have a box was Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. All the rest of them had their boxes. And I really underestimated the size I was going to need, so I had to be 2 shipped boxes. And for those that don't know, USPS, if your box is over 24 inches, they charge you double.
Wow.
And it was like $180 shipping, something like that. I took a bath. Buy a song from me. Well, I am a trained musician, so.
Well, see, Cute Fluff, so you may actually be able to get a song from him. Now, somebody's asked a question here. Hey, could anyone please tell me why Michael has so much Kylie Minogue stuff? I'm quite sure I'm the only longtime watcher that hasn't a clue. Now, there's an LOL at the end of that. If you're a longtime watcher and you've seen the many t-shirts that I've worn over the course of the life of the channel that are all Kylie t-shirts, I'm randomly not wearing one tonight. I'm wearing a Rocketeer shirt. Then are you just wanting to hear the story again? Because it sounds like you kind of know. But anyway, for the purposes of answering the question, just in case this is one of those like weirdos that literally watches all the videos, but really has only watched every 15th video over the last 8 years. And so I love people that are like, oh yeah, I watch all the videos. Then you go, have you watched that one? Oh no, I missed that one. Have you watched that? Oh no, I missed that one. Have you ever visited the channel page, or do you wait for YouTube to like throw you the stuff? Oh yeah, I wait for YouTube to spoon feed me. That's why.
Yeah.
I grew up in England. I moved there in the summer of 1990, which happened to be when Kylie Minogue's Rhythm of Love, her 3rd album, came out and blew everything out of the water. She was already popular. She'd had 2 albums and a soap opera career before that. But people thought she was going to be a one-hit wonder soap opera fad music star that had a single because she was on TV. And she defied all their expectations. And that was when I encountered her. And she was this awesome musical phenomenon while I was there. I did not know that she was not on the radio in the United States. She did not sell albums over here, or I should say the American music industry did not distribute her albums over here. They wanted to pimp their American pop stars. So when I got back in 1993, I found out there were no albums of hers here to be had, and I was bummed. And so that kind of cemented her in my consciousness as this thing from England that I was always going to hold on to. That was a unique part of my experience. Then I ended up seeing her on screen in Street Fighter and Biodome over the summers of 94 and 96.
Viva Las Biodome.
Exclaiming both times in the theater, holy crap, it's Kylie Minogue, and all my high school American friends going, who? Like they have no idea who she was. So I've been a lifelong Kylie Minogue fan, and I'm not ashamed of it. And that's your answer. So there you go.
And it's worth mentioning, she's also one of the only pop stars from that era that didn't go absolutely insane.
That is right. And she's got a new hit climbing the charts right now, despite BBC One's ageism.
Right.
She always comes out on top. Master Son 42 says, so Sal, you giving away your prized possessions for free or for a song, yet you need money for a house. I think you are doing this wrong.
Hey, listen, I'm trying to get this house for a song and a firm handshake. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping, you know how they start with a pencil and then someone ends up with like a lawnmower.
Mm-hmm.
Playing the long game, Master Son, playing the long
Mm-hmm.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Brain power, Swede, brain power.
Impossible Pie speaks great wisdom. Let's see. Austin P says, speaking of your time in England, your video on the early 90s Spider-Man comics is one of my favorite videos. Thank you. It's one of my favorite videos of mine as well, because I love it when I can talk about something that has so much information that's able, like, it's one thing to remember something esoteric and you want to do a video about it, but it's so esoteric there's no information to be mined. So you're just going to kind of be doing a video where you're like, does anybody else remember that? Because I totally remember it. But when you can actually get the info and dig into it and then do a video like that where you say, I collected this thing, you guys probably don't know about it, but it's a documented thing, and here it all is, and in all of its weird idiosyncratic glory, that's a satisfying video to see come together, even if nobody watches it. That is so. Thank you for saying that. All right, so there's a crap ton of stuff in here. All right, so we have the. I'm not going to build all these here, but we have the Wendigo Build-A-Figure, which is awesome. Okay, we have the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure.
He's a beefy boy.
Yeah. We have, what's this? Oh, we have this guy whose name I can never remember from the Hellfire Club, but he comes with, I guess these are accessories for other people in the bag. But he looks kind of like a guy from Pride and Prejudice. Can never remember his name. What's that?
I forget his name all the time.
Yeah.
I can remember Leland and Sebastian Shaw.
I'm going to call him.
I can remember.
I'm going to call him Mr. Darcy. Yeah. Hey, New Zealand. Good to see you, PGM Show. How are you doing? Maybe I've been spoon-fed via YouTube, but I'm trying to learn more now. I knew about you living in England, and thank you, Michael, for explaining that. I really appreciate it. No problem. No problem at all. As a matter of fact, let's play just a little Kylie clip for him since he asked the question. There you go. What's that?
Aggressive.
It's from the movie The Delinquents. It's one of my favorite movie clips of all. Like when I saw it, I was like, how has that clip not been in my life this whole time? Right. Let's see. Okay, so in here we also have this guy who's at the end of the thing, and he has the Rancor. He has the Rancor scream in the video game, but I can never remember this thing's stupid name. Nimrod. I remember it forever now because that, yeah. And in the video game, they sample the Rancor scream, which I'm sure was sampled from like a Godzilla movie or something. Mm-hmm. And that's what he sounds like when he's like attacking people. You would have thought this would have been a Build-A-Figure, given how big it is, but
yeah, one would think, but it came in a 3-pack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was Phantomix or Phantomex, and Psylocke.
Because he's a chunky boy. Like
he's a big boy.
Yeah.
So his wingding doodles are in there someplace.
I will look for his wingding doodles. All right, so we got Toad, the most retro looking Toad they've made so far. Thank you for setting that aside for me. Yep. And let's see. Oh, really? Have you seen my Spice Girls video, Chelor? I hope you have, because if you haven't, you need to punish YouTube for not spoon feeding you well enough. You need to be going to the channel page or just type in RetroBlasting Spice Girls. You need to watch that video. It's one of the ones I'm very, very proud of, and I'm not being ironic when I say that.
Very good.
Thank you.
That was on April 1st of this year or last year?
Last year. This year I missed April 1st. So what I'm going to do is I had an idea for it, but I couldn't get it together in time. So I'm going to do what I did with the Eternals video and bring it out as an April Fool's type video, but in the next few months. So
Nice.
it'll be an off-season April 1st kind of video. Like Tubbs. Mystique.
Yes, the Walgreens version.
Yes, the most accurate to this era version of Pride of the X-Men. And we have here
Sebastian
this is another
Shaw.
one of those dudes whose name I can never remember.
That's Sebastian Shaw, the Black King or the White King.
Is his name really Sebastian Shaw?
Sebastian Shaw, yeah.
Because that's also the name of the actor that played old Anakin at the end of Return of the Jedi.
I think it's Shaw, or maybe it's Stan.
No. You might be right. I'd take you at your word. Trent Westbrook. Wow, thank you so much for the kind super chat.
Yeah. Did you see X-Men First Class, that movie?
A long time ago, but I guess
he was the Kevin Bacon played him.
Oh, okay.
So.
Wow. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Y'all thought you were getting away from Kevin Bacon on this one. No.
Did you really send me one of these Motu Origins wrestling figures?
That was for Tony, I think.
Oh, but okay. Oops, I didn't. This box wasn't open while Tony was here, but I'm sending him a box, so it'll go in that box. That's perfect. I'm glad I didn't send that. I'm glad I procrastinated because I was supposed to send that box out yesterday, and I didn't do it. It's still sitting up open on the thing, so So I'll put that in there for him. Excellent. Okay. I thought for a second you had some like meta joke that you just sent me.
No.
Cute Fluff asks, tell us your ways, Sal, on your tips of how to let go of treasures like you do.
Step 1, be dead inside. Step 2, realize that one day you'll be dead outside as well. And step 3, realize that if you really love the people in your life, you don't want to burden them with this crap. So you try to offload when you can. Step 4, also just being extremely frustrated at the rate things are going. So I started out strong, like, I'm going to get my value out of all this is what it's all worth. And I've been worn down slowly to like, if someone has $2,000, they can come take all of it. I want it gone.
I'm going to do something that I never do.
Uh-oh.
All right, Chalor, everyone will tell you that I never do this, but I am putting a link to the Spice Girls video in the comments. I never, ever send people links directly and spoon feed them, but I am doing that for you as a Spice Girls fan so that you and I can have some conversations later. So, Donald Pierce is the other Hellfire figure you have.
Donald Pierce,
Cyborg, and the leader of the Reavers.
I remember now because I used to Donald Pierce when I did the review on that. I knew it was Donald Pierce, but for some reason, where I started calling him Guy Pierce. I called him Guy Pierce for the last 90% of the video.
Right. Okay, so this is part of the magnetosphere, the energy sphere, and. Okay, so down here we have... Oh, whoa! You sent me the Winter Soldier!
Oh, yeah. So that Winter Soldier is actually a Kit Bash custom of a Spec Ops trooper. And
oh, man!
So it's an Action Force body with that head.
That's awesome! I think he will replace what's on my shelf right now in the main room.
Yep.
The one I have on the shelf is like... I can't remember which version it is at this point. I got like 3, I think, but there's only 1 on the shelf. Thank you so much. This is really nice. I'm going to put him next to Force of Freedom Rambo.
Heck yeah.
That way, Rambo, even though he's half as tall as him, he can fight, the Red Army.
That's right. Give them a war they won't believe.
Is this an Action Force Kraken?
Yes, that is for Tony.
Okay, I'm just Tony. This is the Madeline Pryor that they made for this, right? Oh, that's great.
Well, Madeline Pryor, Jean Grey, same thing.
Oh, that gets so confusing. I can't keep it straight because
Madeline Pryor's a clone of Jean Grey.
Right. Yeah. And the people got all mad because they didn't put her in the actual outfit from the thing. They kind of like gave her just the White Queen's outfit, but
pretty
black.
much, yeah.
Yeah. So I've seen some people totally customize the underboob outfit and stuff. All power to all the comic book fans, for doing the customization. Okay, so we have Pyro from the Pyro Rogue 2-pack.
Yep.
The first boss in Pride of the X-Men, the one that I learned with either Nightcrawler or Dazzler that I could kill him without taking a hit. When you're spending your quarters, that's not easy to do.
That's important.
Very important. And then we have, let's see, I want to save the best for last. So, not that all these aren't great. Oh man, where did this come from?
Oh, that's there's a stand with Toad, and that slots into the stand.
Oh, so this comes with Toad's stand. Okay.
So there's a comic book cover, or I think the back of it's like a swamp.
Yeah. So. Okay. Wow, man. So you weren't kidding when you said you were going through your whole archive of parts and pieces trying to put everything back together. All right. Now, I assume these are for Tony?
Tony or yourself. Those are Black Major.
Yeah, these are Black Major Red Shadows troops. Okay, well, I will. If you want me to ask Tony, I will. But if you just let me know what you want me to do.
It's up to you. You can either keep it, you can give it to him, you guys can split it. It's entirely up to you.
Oh, okay, no problem. All right, let's see. Melinda says underboob, just so much sweat.
Tell me about it. Fate of my existence. I walk around looking like I have a smile on my shirt.
Gmail account. The Batman 66 figures from Mattel McFarlane. It's a whole thing you kind of got to get into. I don't have any of them. Some of them look nice, I guess, but I don't have any of them to review. So it might be a long time before I review them. And Guy Pearce, Kylie Minogue, it's like Aussie Appreciation Week here. Never a problem. Analog Toys says Guy Pearce was in Neighbors with Kylie, so you are excused, sir. I guess he's talking to somebody up in the chat. So thank you, KBA. I was very proud of that. And then let's see here. It says, geez, I leave for 40 minutes and now it's Spice Girls. Look, RetroBlasting is the most eclectic toy collecting channel on the internet. So like, you just got to be ready. You got to keep your head on a swivel here. Okay. I don't have the skill or patience for figure custom. Tell me about that, Sal. So was it frustrating at first, or did it get frustrating later as you became more of a perfectionist? How did that work?
It's like most things in life. The more you learn, the less you know.
Right.
So it's like when I first started doing customizing, it was like, oh, okay, like it looks good enough or whatever. But then it gets to a point where it's like, no, I know I can do better, and I'm just being lazy, or I want it to look a certain way, and it just won't look that way, and it drives you nuts. But you just get better by doing it. You just don't be afraid of it.
Right. Right.
If you mess it up, you mess it up. So.
Well, Cute Fluff wants to know if you're keeping anything. You're so young, Sal.
34. Okay, I appreciate it. I mean, I don't know. I'll keep some stuff probably, but not much. Like even like I'm having to draw a line in the sand because it's like, yeah, I have stuff from childhood, but it's like just because it's from my childhood doesn't mean I need to keep it. Right. Because there's some stuff that I have where I'm like, I really don't need that. Like like this Johnny Quest thing that I found in the basement. Like this was, I think, part of a Pizza Hut tie-in or something. But it's like, do I really need like? I haven't watched Johnny Quest in probably 30 years, and what's he going to do? Just live somewhere? Like, so there's certain things where I'm like, I really don't need all that kind of stuff now. If I have something that has a lot of really childhood playtime memories tied into it, then I'll probably keep that. But like I started out cherry picking certain Marvel Legends, like, oh, I'm going to keep this one, I'm going to keep this one, and now I'm just like, you know what? I don't want any of them. Because I quickly fall down the rabbit hole again, where I'm like, well, if I keep Cable, I need to keep Bishop too. Well, if I'm keeping those two, then I need to keep other X-Force members, and it's like, it spirals. So it's an all or nothing almost. But
I've tried the custom route a few times with figures, and I think I've done an okay job with what I've set out to do as far as like repaints or stuff like that, just minor stuff. But if I'm not able to kit bash something 1-to-1 where the parts, I think the most involved thing I ever did was taking Luke's face off that other figure and putting it into the face. And I'll give myself some credit for that one. But as far as like the kind of stuff you do, I think I'd be like, what Cute Fluff, or not what Cute Fluff is saying, but there was somebody asking you about your patience with customs. It really does get to a point where you can pull your own hair out. I mean, like, because you can ruin something. I mean, Skew Raider gave me a custom Tomb Raider 12-inch doll that he painted the face on at Joe Fest, and he told me, he said the face is going to need a little cleanup, and I think that he thought that I would be smarter than I ended up being. I think he thought that he and I spoke the same language, because what I thought was cleanup, what I didn't realize was, and I realized it very quickly, I ended up taking the face paint off of her cheeks. She now looks like a mime that's halfway into her clown makeup. And I'm like, oh, I just ruined somebody's work trying to clean up. Like, it scares me off. It really does.
It happens. Where the fun part is when you get into irreparable areas where it's not just paint, where you're like completely changing something.
Right.
Like that I actually got that idea of the Winter Soldier. Ryan did it first, so I just ganked his idea.
Right.
In order to get that metal arm out of the Marvel Legend, you have to tear open the torso to that Marvel Legend, because the disc is like that big around and the peg's like teeny tiny.
Yeah.
So you can't just boil and pop those out.
Right.
But yeah, I have a Dr. Octopus that I put metal bendy wire tentacles into him, and I had to drill into his back to do it. So
wow.
Eventually you get into irreparable areas. So
sure.
As they taught me in the wood shop class that I would have took if it was available.
But
twice, cut once.
But when it's done right, it's a superior work of art.
Right.
Essentially. Hey, RetroBlasting, hope you're doing well. Wanted to ask your thoughts on Metal Gear Solid. My roommate played that in college on PlayStation, and I watched a lot of it. It's amazing how a person can just magically keep an entire cardboard box in their belt. And I really got familiar with hearing that girl on the other end of the speaker scream, "Snake, Snake," as the logo went flying in. But I thought it was an impressive game, but boy, it looked, I remember my roommate was pretty even-tempered. You would almost say lithium level even-tempered, and that game made him throw the controller a lot. Like, I have a lot of respect for the game, but I was playing Tomb Raider, the series, at the time that he was playing that. So, ships that pass in the night kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I find it fascinating that the alert sound, like the surprise sound from that game, is now used just colloquially by multiple people, and they have no idea where it came from.
Oh yeah, see, at least I can say with certainty I knew where it came from when I used it in my Tomb Raider video recently, the magazine thing. Yeah. I deliberately was like, because I heard that noise throughout my entire sophomore year of college. Like, just in my dorm room, that guy playing that game, Yeah. she does carry all the songs. Just saying. Yeah. Not taking anything away from anybody else. Just saying. Oh, Lachlan's here. Well, yes, Kylie Minogue and an Aston Martin V8. That would be a centerpiece. Yes, it would. And you have good taste in both pop singers and automobiles.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see. All right, well, we're down to the last two things in this box, and then we're going to end this stream, which went on way too long. Apologize to everybody. So first off is this. It's so appropriate that he's sitting in this right now. Sal made, before he sent this to me, he said, I have this idea. And he made an energy field for Magneto to inhabit. So on display, Magneto now has this energy, feel like he generates in the comic book. So wow, I can't wait to get all this out of the bags and put it together, but I won't do that here because it'll take too long. And then last but not least, that which started this entire purchase to begin with was when Sal mentioned he had this set, because I refrained from getting the Pride of the X-Men villains because they never did an appropriate White Queen for that era. And then when they did, they put it in that Hellfire set. And I was like, of course they did. But here it is, the one I've been wanting for so long, the one I've been waiting for. And when Sal said he had that, I said, what other villains you got? So thank you so much, Sal, for helping me complete the Pride of the X-Men bosses. There was somebody that was telling me the other day, they were like, oh, they also made those little weird guys with the half bodies and the tank treads. And I went, but those weren't bosses. I said, those were like nuisances in the middle of levels. I said, so I'm not going down that path because I hear they're worth a fortune or something.
Oh, the Reavers?
Yeah, the Reavers. Yeah.
I had all those. Matt Swafford bought them.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that because again, they don't group well in the group shot. They're not the bosses of the levels. So even though she's technically a mini boss, she's a mid-level boss, I still count it as a boss because she's in the opening screen with Magneto and Juggernaut and stuff. So Sal, thank you so much for allowing me to purchase a little bit of 2 Cents Toys history from you.
Of course. Now all you need is Avalanche and Blob, and I think all the villains will be done.
Yes, Avalanche, is he the Sphinx looking guy?
No. Oh god, what's his name?
Because I don't think they've made him yet, have they?
No.
Yeah.
I wish Ryan was here. He'd know.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about Chalor. I'll just tell you this. Don't worry about catching up with Live. Like, seriously, Live is all in the archives. It's all there. Just when I go to channel pages, I go there to look for their finished pre-recorded videos. I go there to look for what they've put their production time into. The live stuff is hours and hours of stuff for any channel. And that's just like you said, that's for a road trip. That's for something where you can't watch, you need to listen. The best live streams are the ones where you can opt to listen as well as watch.
Right.
So I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank. Which boss is Avalanche?
He's the one that he makes the ground shake, has a big A on his chest and a weird looking helmet. Is he not in that game, or is he in a different way?
Was I must have him confused with this guy.
Oh, Nimrod?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nimrod, hold on.
I don't know if Nimrod in the game?
Yeah, I know Nimrod is.
So so hold on. So let's X-Men Arcade Avalanche. Images. Yeah, I don't remember him being in the arcade game.
I thought he was. Look at us doing the Google things.
I know, right? X-Men. Yeah, I don't remember him being in the game. Yeah, Nimrod. That's what I thought. Nimrod was in the game. Liam's trash. Thank you so much. Yeah, he was in the game.
Oh no, I'm wrong. Avalanche is not in it. I thought he was.
Cool. So now all I just need is the Blob, and he's out right now, so I just got to pick him up.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, everybody who stuck with us for this whole stream, thank you for being here. I want to thank Sal again for both jumping onto the stream and also for this very, very kind surprise of your childhood Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker vintage, this actual prototype Obi-Wan Kenobi. Good Lord. And just spending time. When do you want to do the Ancient Mysteries return?
Whenever you want. Whenever you want.
Okay. Well,
yeah. So your channel life is significantly busier than mine. So
well, that's because I've got to keep a roof over my head. So oh, you're welcome, Cute Fluff. And Scott Hughes, you're welcome. Nathan, you are so welcome. And yes, Ancient Mysteries was nothing. Ancient Mysteries, War Stories, and Call the Police Box are not dead series. On February 1st, when YouTube flipped all the switches and did the shorts thing, they threw all of us onto our asses. And we had to figure out what to do as channels. And one of those things I was trying to do was figure out why my livelihood had dropped by 70% in Google ad revenue. Because that's the only thing I focus on. You guys know I don't try and harass you with click the bell, subscribe, do the thing. I don't harass you with join my Patreon, blah blah blah. I try and treat you all with respect that you have intelligence. I'm not going to treat you like children. So I focus on trying to generate, do the hard work and get the views. Do the hard work, get the views. Do the hard work, get the views. And YouTube really shifted the paradigm on that. So we've been trying to figure out what to do. So those shows went on hiatus just briefly while I tried to recenter myself. So, but yeah. You're welcome, Ezra. You're very welcome, Liam. And you're very welcome, Raymond. It's always great to see you. Always great to see you. You're very welcome, Monster Kid. Yeah, so Ancient Mysteries, we will get one of those going here within the next week to 10 days, something like that.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Or we could really make them wait until August.
We could. You want to do that and do it live?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. So Ancient Mysteries is coming back in August, and the first one you're going to see, it's going to be Sal and I on camera together, I think for the first time.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. And we don't, you're very welcome, Chris. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Scuba, as always. Lachlan, Jamie, love you both. Great meeting you at Joe Fest. Great hanging out with you and meeting all of your tiny family members who played Snake Eyes and Scarlet. They were adorable. And you're very welcome, Tim Hayes. You're very welcome. Oh, thank you, PGM. Yeah. Love the Rocketeer shirt. Love Kylie Minogue. Thanks, Simon Cowell, for the Spice Girls. Great channel. Well, did Simon Cowell actually... I thought the Spice Girls inspired the whole Simon Cowell thing. Did he cross paths with them at some point before they had all those shows like X Factor?
I'm sure he's happy to take credit for it either way, but
okay. All right. Well, I thought I had. You know what I need to get? I need to get some more Kylie and Spice Girls clips in here just to have them. Yeah. So live streams for me are a weird thing sometimes because I know people like them, but I never know why. So, because the way I look at streaming, it's kind of like this.
You say you want to.
Long clip.
What we are doing for this section is entirely futile. We will talk for a bit, then we will guess, then it will be over.
And that's kind of the way, and that's why I like to do streams that have a purpose, like Ancient Mysteries or War Stories or something where there's a focus. So anytime somebody says, like my great friend Scott Hughes is like, you should do a stream tonight. And I'm like, I have nothing to say. And they're like, and he's always like, that's the best kind of show. And I'm like, I don't know if I should take that as an insult or a compliment. So no kidding. But yeah, you're welcome, Death Seeker. Thank you so much for being here. Venkman, good night. Any final words, Sal, before we end this casual evening?
Rubber baby bumper or whatever that thing is. What was it? Rubber bumper baby something. There you go. That's what I got.
And with that, everyone, we will see you on the next video. Bye.